Oh, now you done it.
Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, fighting from the booth. They'll fight for the real story, wherever it's hidden away. Overwatch and the Guardian are there every day. It's Overwatch and the Guardian against the narrative. The enemy fighting to save the day. They never give up, they're always there, forcing the normies to take red pills every day. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian is the code name for the team that won't quit. Its purpose to force the normies to swallow the red pill against the narrative. A ruthless force determined to keep everyone asleep. They broadcast the truth on Rumble, on clouds dropping red pills every week. Overwatch and the Guardian, the narrative is weak.
We can't let it end like this!
It's too late. Defenders of the Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian.
I love it, bro. Absolutely freaking love it. How's it going, everybody? Yeah,
I'm sorry. That was
Overwatch
good.
and the Guardian, as you know, as Josh and Alpha. Welcome to episode 0, the premiere of the new Thursday night show. Going to be the hottest Thursday night show, Overwatch and the Guardian, Digital Soldiers, Final Defenders. Gonna be a little bit different structure to this show. I'm gonna let Josh kind of give you guys a little bit on it, and then we're both gonna do some quick ad reads to pay the bills, and then we're gonna get this show started. But just think, just Alpha clashes with Red Pills TV into Overwatch and the Guardian. This is gonna be a show that's for everybody, with a specific mission to make sure that we reach out to our not so advanced red pill friends out there, so that everybody is up to speed. So what do you want to add to that, Josh?
I'm excited about this show. You know, we went with, so yeah, I heard someone in the chat, G.I. Joe vibes. They went completely retro 1980. Yes, we did. And why? Because we're not only going to cover the news on this. We're not going to talk about, we're going to talk about current events. We're going to talk about different things. We're going to talk about it from kind of a dumbed down perspective as well. It's kind of be for normies as well, but also we're going to talk about nostalgia. We're going to talk about conspiracies. We're going to expand beyond the traditional scope, what we would do on DEF CON or Q After Hours, or what I would do on Daily Dose and what Alpha would do on his show. So we're going to expand the kind of the content coverage aspect of this. So I'm really excited because I got a lot of things to say. I shaved for this show. So
I was like, my co-host got like 15 years younger. What the hell's going on here? So yeah, folks, do us a solid. The show is free, and we think you're gonna like it. We need your help to get the word out. You know, every time we've done a show, you guys have put them on the leaderboard. So if you guys can do that with this one, we definitely would appreciate it. So put it on your telegrams, put it out in your different social media feeds, repost it, restack it. For our audiences that are on YouTube, thank you for joining us. If you can do us a favor too, and share it. We need everybody to share the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys are gonna like that. So with that, let's do a Rumble ad reads. Do you want to go first? And
Yeah, I'll go first.
we're both gonna want to do Rumble Wallet, so one of us could do it now, one of us could do it at the end.
I will go. I'll do it now. How about that? I'll start this off. But guys, if you guys are looking for the Rumble wallets, if you're on our respected pages on Rumble, you can go right there by where it says the name, the AlphaWarrior Show or Red Pills Project, and you'll see the tip. You just click on that. There's a QR code that pumps up, and that's going to give you our Rumble wallet links. But you listen, they can freeze your accounts, they can shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. We're introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. And go on over to wallet.rumble.com to find out more on that.
There you go. And if you guys are feeling hungry on this late Thursday night, you might want to head on over to the Chicago Steak Company. All right, let me tell you about my Valentine's Day sponsor. And honestly, this one's a no-brainer. Chicago Steak Company, code HEART26. Look, you could fight for a reservation at some overpriced restaurant, sit there surrounded by strangers, rush through your meal, or you could stay home, cook together, and have a way better experience. There are USDA prime steaks, hand-selected, wet-aged, up to 40 days, restaurant quality, delivered to your door. Here's the deal. It's the last week for free Valentine's shipping. Order $199 or more. Use code HEART26 and you get $145 in free gifts. That's 2 Maryland crab cakes, 6 Italian chocolate pastries, and free shipping. So you've got an appetizer, a main course, dessert, done. Go to mychicagostate.com/heart26, code heart26. That's HEART26. Link is down in the description. And then a special commercial for the person that created our intro. If you guys liked it, you're going to enjoy this one.
If we may proceed with the demonstration.
Somebody got into our heads with big steel-toe boots, cable cutters and a chainsaw, and they went to town. Neurons got exposed. The circuits got rewired. Our brain cells got obliterated.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Once you begin a great movement, there's no telling where it'll end.
Brainwashed, which I understand is the new American word.
Geez, even his little 30-second advertisement videos are kick-ass. You're muted, Alpha.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
I said it's actually 47 seconds.
Oh.
I like what you did there, sir. I like what you did there. So, again, you guys go and support the people, support these shows. And again, make sure you guys go check out Upside Down. That is, especially if you're starting your own podcast or you're putting content out there, you're going to want this guy in your corner. So we're going to start off with some news. If you guys are kind of used to this format, you saw we kind of opened it up with Jarvis. It just kind of called them all out. That's going to represent one of the conversations that we're going to have tonight. But before we get there, we have some other cool stuff that happened. President Trump drops with the White House TrumpRx.gov. everybody's been going to this site. They've been checking out the prices. My little brother called me today and he's like, dude, like this is pretty solid. Like he is going to force these pharmacies and these other ones, they're going to have to get competitive. We just got rated from Jackie Espada, another Badlands over there. So thank you for that rate, Jackie. But he's going to force that. I mean, the guy just knows business. He just understands the way this works. And again, so if you guys want to check it out, it's trumprx.gov. And then here's him saying a little something about that.
We're here this evening to celebrate the launch of one of the most transformative healthcare initiatives of all time. There's never been anything like it. Starting tonight, dozens of the most commonly used prescription drugs will be available at dramatic discounts for all consumers throughout a new website. It's called trumprx.gov. That's trumprx.gov. For years, politicians from both parties have promised to bring down prescription drug prices and make healthcare more affordable, but they all failed. It was all words as usual. They failed, and they failed badly. They tried doing this, some of them, most of them didn't even try because they never really had a shot at it. But I'm actually getting it done, and it is done, actually. This launch represents the largest reduction in prescription drug prices in history by many, many times, and it's not even close. You're going to see numbers that you're not going to believe.
What do you think about that, bro?
So, for the last few months, Trump has been talking about the healthcare companies and the health insurance companies. And the big understanding here is that there's no bigger monopoly in the world than health insurance. And this was created by Barack Obama with the Affordable Care Act, and in all the various different state legislation that came about from that. Now, do you remember what United Health? You remember the CEO was killed by Mangiolano last year and stuff like that. So the big thing is this: these large healthcare companies, insurance companies, what they do is over the last 20 years is they started buying out all the mom and pop doctors' offices. Then they bought out all the loan sharks, and then they bought out all of the pharmaceutical companies in those areas. So basically they control the money and they control the price. And so in the midst of this, they went out and created kind of like intermediary consulting companies, because under the Affordable Care Act, there's an intermediary agency that is supposed to regulate the price and make sure that it doesn't go up, but it's in the free market. So these insurance companies own those companies. So they have a complete monopoly on the healthcare industry. So what Trump's trying to do is he's trying to break that up legally by instituting various different actions and not necessarily repealing the Affordable Care Act, but kind of going around it legally until you can get a new framework in place. And drug prices. So think about it like this, is that the free markets are the free markets. And so the objective of the Affordable Care Act is that, people took advantage of the legislation and then consolidated power, but it's still the free market. So when Trump comes out and has a government-sponsored website that's going to show you the lowest prices that you can get, this is going to draw down the overall market value of those drugs. And then people are going to have to compete. Those companies will have to compete at this level. And this also is going to go for medical treatments. So they're going to do the same thing for medical treatments. So if you have to go in for a surgery, you can go to, you'll have a website that you can go to, and you can find out what other hospitals and doctors actually charge for that and what the average price is supposed to be in comparison to what you're being charged. And then you can find the insurance price versus the non-insured price. And this is going to completely and radically change the health insurance markets, healthcare markets.
It's going to increase the wealth of people. I mean, think about a lot of these people that are up in age, they're in their retirement, and, and they are, I know a lot of us are not fans of pharma or synthetic, drugs or things like that, but they are out there until some of these other things and holistic methods become more mainstream. But look at this one right here that he has on the website. I'm not familiar with what Gonal is anyways, but the price that we were at was just over $1,400 a pin. Canada was at $355. And now with the most favored nation price, this is down to $252. That's $1,200 $500 for a person that needs to use this. And I don't know how often this is
Right.
something that somebody needs to use.
And you know, the funny thing about that is that drug probably costs $5 to $6 to make. And, you know, we have a massive crisis in our country with healthcare. And I don't mean the health of the country, because that is a problem. That is another crisis. But I mean in the cost. For instance, in Minnesota, a single mother of two will pay out of pocket over $1,500 a month for two people. And then their employer is typically paying the other half of that. So it's like $3,000 a month just for health insurance. But you know why? It's not because they're at risk. It's because of all of the illegal immigration and the socialized medicine that is happening in these blue states, that you have to compensate for the people that are getting free health care.
It's interesting. You saw the Ozempic one went from over $1,000 a month to it was like $120. But here's the other thing on this website that caught my attention: all the gold branding. He did it right here with the eagle that says Trump RX. If we go about halfway into it, he did it right here with the globe and, you know, America in gold. There's just the dude's on a mission when it comes to that. And I just wanted to bring it to people's attention. You've seen it in the Oval Office. I see you smiling. So,
it's like when you ask Christopher Walken, you know, about Donald Trump's website. Christopher, what does it need? It needs more gold, right? Like, it's like more cowbell. It's like more gold. It needs more gold. Put some gold over there. Put some gold over there. I mean, that's the dude's color. That's what he resonates with. Everything that he owns is made of. He's got a gold shitter at Mar-a-Lago, for goodness. Like,
that's not a joke, folks, either.
Not a joke. That's like, he's got not a gold plated. He's got a literal gold shitter. And you know what? More power to him, dude. But you know, the health insurance thing is really interesting. This needs to change. This seriously needs to change. And I know more people are health conscious right now than ever before and trying to change their diets and change their health. You got Bobby Kennedy out there today, you know, talking about various different announcements. One of them being that there's a Harvard medical scientist that has just finished human test trials with utilizing the keto diet to cure bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Like, that's huge. And sure enough, that whole medical establishment is like, this is bullshit. That's not real. Like,
of course.
But it is real, because here's the thing: is when you eat whole foods, when you put real food into your body and not synthetic shit, guess what happens? Your body heals itself. You know, let me play this video real quick.
Go ahead. Let me bring this down,
because this is kind of interesting. I found this guy on TikTok, and I think he does these videos with him and his kids. He's got to be like a chemist, a biochemist or something. But he's going to show you right here how to make a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. I want people to watch this, because he does this for all the foods that you buy.
Here's how to make the Chick-fil-A chicken
from scratch at home.
Cheap mass-produced chicken in the US is dunked in a chlorine bath to disinfect it and to soak in some water away.
Let it sit for 30 minutes. We're gonna remove the breasts and cut them into butterflies.
For our next step, we're gonna need some peanuts, and we're gonna blast them with glyphosate, paraquat, 2,4-DD, a cocktail of synthetic fungicides and herbicides.
We're gonna smash them up, remove the husk, and grind.
Now, get your hexane or petroleum solvent, wash the mash, then filter, refine, deodorize, and bleach.
And we just made our peanut oil.
For our coating,
sugar,
salt,
spices,
eggs,
soybean oil, baking soda,
and sodium aluminum phosphate. That's great to make them nice and puffy, but not so great for your kidneys.
Mix, coat, but we're not done yet.
Before we fry it, we're gonna add to the oil some dimethyl polysoloxane, essentially silicone, so it doesn't bubble too much. Now all that's left is to deep fry.
And there you have it.
Send this to your friends who are addicted to Chick-fil-A.
And let us know, would you eat this crap?
That was gross, dude.
Yeah, but that's the truth. This is what you should see the McDonald's French fry one.
That was gross. It's like, when you put it that way, it's like, that is so nasty. And the crazy thing is the time that it takes to prep a steak, you know, or a burger patty and go throw it out on the grill. is faster.
Yeah.
Than that.
Well, I mean, you can make your own very easily. I mean, the French fry one is just as disgusting. I can pull that one up if you want me to.
You know what? Do it, because I want people to see this stuff so that we don't eat it. Because trust me, I'm like everybody else. You find yourself in a pinch and you're just like, man, I gotta hurry. I'm out of time. Let's just grab some French fries.
Yeah, check this out.
Here's how to make the McDonald's French fries exactly at home. First, we're going to genetically modify the potatoes just for cosmetic reasons. This way they don't go brown no matter what we do to them. Then on the field, we're gonna drench the soil with chlorothalonil, mancozeb, diquat, and of course, we can't forget about the famous glyphosate, cocktail of synthetic herbicides and fungicides. Now it's time to gas them. These potatoes sit in warehouses for months, so they are blasting them with chlorpropane gas to keep them from sprouting while they wait their turn. Now to make them into French fries, we're gonna drench them in a warm solution of dextrose and sodium acid pyrophosphate that's great for the classic yellow color, but not so great for your kidneys. For our coating, our salt has 4 ingredients, including aluminum anti-caking agent, and our beef flavoring is from hydrolyzed wheat, skim milk powder, citric acid, and natural beef flavoring, whatever that means. Now, to fry these, they are using a blend of cheap genetically modified seed oils and hydrogenated soybean oil. But that's not it. They add to the oil TBHQ, a petroleum-derived preservative, and dimethyl polysoloxane, essentially silicone, so it doesn't bubble too much. Fry them, coat, and then place them boiling hot in this paper container that's actually lined with polyethylene for extra microplastics. Send these to your friends who are addicted to McDonald's and let me know, would you eat this crap?
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah. So, here's the thing, is his videos are going viral on TikTok. That's telling you something.
On TikTok?
Yeah, on TikTok. It's telling you that culture is beginning to change and shift and see what's happening. And see, that's the most beautiful thing that can actually happen, because, we talk about psyops and psyops all the time, right? We talk about psyops and how these operate and psychological warfare. But what happens when psychological warfare as a tool is utilized to change and transition culture, not to the synthetic variable that it's at right now because of generations of psychological warfare that was very disruptive, but instead bringing it back to its natural state. And I think that that's actually what we have going on. And we have people in our government right now, like the Trump administration, that understand this, and they understand how to amplify. Because you got to remember, when the Trump administration went in there and they seized TikTok, you got Oracle that came in and bought it out, and whatever we think of, Michael Dell and all these guys that took over TikTok. One thing you have to understand is it's now under the control of people like Donald Trump, who the military can go in there and say, hey, this is what we want to do. We need to start amplifying these types of videos that are going to promote this help, because we want the transition and change culture back to what it normally would be. And I think that that's really, really important, because, natural evolution, we would get there. We would get there eventually, but you'd have to have some type of systemic collapse of this old system. And I've always talked about how we currently have a cultural system that is synthetic social engineering. What do I mean by that? It's unnatural. Our current culture in the United States of America, at least over the last generation and a half, is synthetic social engineered to be this way. It's not natural and it's not organic. And here's the thing, is that when a group of people or a society begin to deviate away from their natural states into synthetic environments, they tend to have upticks of massive amounts of mental illness. Now go look at the left and what's happening right there. And we see it actually occurring. So, in order for our civilization to survive, we have to detox from that harmful environment that was produced over these last generations. In mainstream media was one of the biggest culprits of this. And what do you see now? Mainstream media. I mean, the Washington Post just yesterday got rid of 2/3 of their whole broadcasting staff. This is everybody, not just broadcasting news anchors, writers, everybody. Now, AI is replacing a lot of that, but at the same time, it's because nobody's buying the papers. And so we're seeing a massive transitional shift. And I think that this is actually probably one of the most important evolutionary points in humanity's history, probably since we started eating mushrooms and evolving our brains.
It's important, man. And listen, I'm not knocking on French fries and things like that. Because if you go back to like, our great grandparents or our grandparents, even, some of our parents, you grew up where you went to the, fast food diner, but it was potatoes made with like, tallow or something. Like it was
Yeah.
not all this, like the chemical. I mean, it was chemicals. That's all it was chemicals that were being put into our body. This is gonna really, you guys are gonna like the conspiracy segment that's gonna be coming up later in the show with regards to what we're talking about. But we'll shift gears here into the next topic. But it goes along with what we're talking about here, the culture of the Americana, right? Make America healthy again. Well, another thing, and everybody has different religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs, but it still shows that the direction that this administration wants to take our country. And let me bring this up on the screen so you guys actually see what the heck I'm talking about here. MAGA Voice reports breaking. President Trump stuns America by announcing America will rededicate itself to God on May 17th, 2026. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God. Christ is King. And let's take a listen to this video.
To support this exciting renewal this morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17th, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, and we are going to do something that everyone said, like, that's tough. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God. A lot of people... Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I mean by the Spirit. It's so incredible to see it. I see it so much. I've never seen anything like it in 1 year. I thought it would take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to be where we are. Well, we've done it in, really 10 months. We're at 12, but now it's just getting to a level that we've never reached before as a country. But that includes religion. And maybe that's part of the reason that we're doing so well. There's such great spirit. It's all spirit, and it includes religion. I've always said, you just can't have a great country if you don't have religion. You have to believe in something. You have to believe that what we're doing, there's a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it. We're all working and we're behaving. I behave because I'm afraid not to, okay? Because I don't want to get in trouble.
Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but let me play one more 28-second one because he said important things, and I want us to break this down. But take a listen to this 28-second one. This one was National Prayer Breakfast, but the White House put this one out and said, we are going to rededicate America as one nation under God.
To be a great nation, however, you have to have faith. You have to have God. Prayers strengthen, prayers heal, prayer empowers, and prayer saves. Quite simply, prayer is America's superpower. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God.
Brother, those are some bold statements, right?
They are. Now, I also want to show you something. What day is it?
May 17th. Or today's date, or the...
No, it's supposed to be on May 17th, right?
Yeah, May 17th.
Look at post 1401's date.
You got to zoom in. My eyes aren't as young as they used to be.
Okay, well, let me do this. I can do this easy.
Or you can read it to me. I trust you, brother.
Well, no, I got this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go like this, and we're going to bring the full image up just like that. So this is May 17th, 1401, right?
Right.
I'm going to scroll down. Now, what did he say? We're going to do what? Rededicate America to God, right?
Correct. God bless the United States of America. D5.
It's like they picked that date on purpose. At least that's my perspective.
100%. They picked it on purpose. And it's important. And that's the thing. This is what he's an absolute genius at. Is his people call it double speak. I mean, he's quadruple, speak with all the different audiences that he's talking to there. But he's to me at least, my interpretation of what I listened to him on that is he's telling us, hey, you're putting your faith and belief in politicians, in congressmen, in me. And he's like, you guys got to remember, like, who's really in charge here. Whatever name you call them, whatever building that you walk into to celebrate, study, learn, whatever the case may be, he's saying that, like, we need to get back to the culture of America. It almost seems like we're going back in time with the values of America.
That's right.
Like technology, we're moving forward, and you guys have no idea what Josh is going to be telling us about tonight. He's like, did you hear about this? I was just like, what? He's like, it's real. I'm like, what? So I'm telling you guys, if you guys wait to the end of the show, you're going to absolutely love the conversation that's coming. But technology is advancing us, but it's like our culture and our values is going back in time. And I'm good with that. Like, I like the way I was raised. I like circa 80s. And, I mean, you can even go farther back in time. I see people post on social media at the time, like, why don't men dress like this? And you look back, it's like, you know what? Fellas used to dress like studs, five-piece outfits, 4-piece out. I mean, men, and there was a pride that came there. But every time I see you smiling, I'm like, he's got something. He's got something.
You're reminding me of the 80s, man.
It was great. I mean, granted, we didn't realize that a lot of stuff that we were going to be subjected to, 2 and 3 decades later was being implemented. But nonetheless, the mindset there was great. So I don't know if you want to add anything to this. If not, then we're going to start moving into the Tulsi Gabbard conversation, which is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, here, I'll play this because now you got me on this, and I know that it's not off topic. It actually brings about what you were just saying, because I believe this is where we're headed. I think that this culturally is what is going on right now. You're absolutely right when you said that we're moving forward technologically, but we're moving back in the context of our values and our morals as a civilization. Or in other words, we're reversing culture to a point in time to where it was morally and ethically sound and natural and organic in its context. And it always reminds me of this video. Have you seen this video?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll play it.
The 80s miss you, right?
Let me guess. No one even talks face to face anymore.
Here? We're out until the streetlights come on. You should stay. The world feels real here. We've got mixtapes, Friday night diners, cruising down Burnside in your friend's Camaro. What's 2025 got?
Yo, what are you even doing in 2025? Out there, it looks like everyone's glued to their phones, chasing nothing. No block parties, no Friday night hangout.
Do you even remember what it's like to really be here? Out here, time doesn't race, it breathes. And if you've forgotten that, then maybe that's why the 80s are calling you back.
Yo, you coming or what?
You don't get it. The 80s wasn't just about neon lights or mixtapes. It was about being here, actually being with people. No screens in your face, no noise from the future. Just the moment. The 80s miss you. We all do. Maybe it's time you came back.
Bro, you sent me back, man.
but
you sent me
exactly
so
what
back.
you said. It's exactly what you said. I mean, we have to go back towards that kind of that idea, that moral and ethical framework. And that moral and ethical framework is what brought about that whole free kind of nature of what the 80s were. At least in my mind.
I was actually going to have this conversation with you a couple days ago, and it totally slipped my mind. And it was, I get all these people that email me or send me DMs, and one of the fears that people have with the advancement of technology, especially where we're going and the stuff that they're disclosing to us. I mean, literally, you have the Department of War that's came out like, yeah, we got direct energy weapons. Bro, 18 months ago, that was tinfoil hat stuff.
It was.
And they're just like, and then Trump comes out like, we don't just got it. We're the best. We got the best direct energy.
We got the
weapons.
discombobulator.
Yeah, we got the discombobulator.
I don't know how it works or what it does, but it makes everything all just discombobulated.
And so, when my people start to see this, I get these messages and they're like, yeah, man, but like where people's values are, like the immorality of our society, like, is it good that we're getting this kind of technology? And I was thinking about it, I was like, all right, let me look into this and see how I can address it. But then when I started to, as I was going through that process, I saw that we are moving back in culture. And it almost seems like we're going back to a time where the moral standards, the ethical standards, the respect standards, for society are going to be something that are going to complement the technology that's coming around the corner.
You need it. You need it like that. It's a cultural reset, man. And so when you start to think about the Great Reset, well, we hijacked that globalist Great Reset, but there is a Great Reset occurring, and it's occurring, guess where? Through the domain of information. We are utilizing the same mediums that they utilize to brainwash and put a whole society in a trance and produce this synthetic social engineered society. We're using the same medium to reset it back to its natural organic state.
I like it. And just for the folks that knows, any super chats, rumble rants that we're seeing, well, we're not missing them. When we get to the end of the show, we will definitely address those. So don't think that we're ignoring them. We definitely see them. And thank you for all you guys that are supporting me and Josh with the new show that we're doing. Well, then that brings us into this next topic, because as of course we move to start exposing, the sinister stuff, the people that are trying to destroy this nation. Toria Brooke puts out, just in, DNI Gabbard has been tapped by POTUS to work alongside FBI Director Cash to oversee voter fraud and election security to secure our elections. And here's a quick soundbite from the press secretary on that.
Tulsi Gabbard has been tapped by the President of the United States to oversee the sanctity and the security of our American elections. She's working directly alongside the FBI Director, Kash Patel. This is a coordinated whole of government effort to ensure that our elections, again, are fair and transparent moving forward. I don't see anything wrong with the President tasking a cabinet member to pursue an issue that most people want to see solved. Maybe you don't, but I know many Americans do want to make sure our elections are protected. And that's what Tulsi Gabbard is focused on doing.
Now, this is going to set up a chain of tabs we're going to move through right here, Josh, that the audience, a lot of it's vindication, because we've been talking about this for a year, if not a little bit longer. Before DNI Gabbard came out and announced that she had a RICO case on Russia, me and you were already telling people they're going to be working on a RICO case.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Russia came out, we saw some stuff, some information was assisted to us, and we came out and said, hey, everybody, this ain't the only RICO case. There's going to be several RICO cases. And so now we have the election stuff that's starting to surface. You have the president that has tapped Tulsi Gabbard to be like, hey, you're going to run parallel with the FBI and the DOJ here. And of course, that would lead us into this. Praying Medic puts out a soundbite from John Solomon, and he says, John Solomon believes that Tulsi Gabbard is about to brief President Trump on election rigging that may compel Congress to approve the SAVE Act. So I'm gonna play this clip. I think it's the longest clip that we have tonight. It's a little over 2 minutes. But this is a lot of this stuff is gonna be like, we told you so. But with that, it's, what does this look like moving forward? You want to say anything before I hit play on this?
Yeah, so this actually all's hinging, and I don't think John Solomon actually gets into it, but this all hinges off of what just happened. So earlier this year, so Tulsi Gabbard over the last 2 days confirmed they have evidence of electronic voting machines are rigging elections. And this comes about from Puerto Rico. Voting machines in Puerto Rico contain evidence of voter fraud and manipulation, according to several national security sources who have briefed other journalists on the issue. These are conversations that Tulsi Gabbard has been having with her internal team. We can now reveal the secret team led by the United States attorney, the U.S. attorney in Puerto Rico, seized a rigged voting machine some time ago that was used in recent elections on the island that had turned that had turned them over to Tulsi Gabbard in a joint investigation with ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. These machines were not allowed to be wiped, according to the sources of this reporting, and reprogrammed by the vendor, Dominion Voting Machines. So how bad were the problems? Out of 4,490 polling stations used in the last election, 3,119, that's equivalent to roughly 70%, were unable to transmit results from their respective voting centers, according to the state election commissions in response to the lawsuits filed. So this is coming off of the finalization of that inquiry into those Puerto Rican Dominion voting machines. And so play the John Solomon clip, because this is huge. And then we're going to put it together for people with Fort Pierce, Florida, what's happening there, Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm going to show you one image and everybody's going to be like, oh my God.
You guys, Overwatch and The Guardian premiere episode 000. If you're liking what you're seeing now and we're just getting warmed up, do us a solid, smash the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, share. Here's John Solomon.
We were told by Chris Wray and other officials after the 2020 election, we had a perfect election. There were no major foreign intrusions or foreign attempted intrusions in the 2020 election. I pretty quickly debunked that about a year later when I reported that Iran actually had hacked into a battleground state's registration system and downloaded more than 100,000 identities and was using them. Eventually, 2 guys got indicted in Manhattan. That's a really significant intrusion. That was not what Chris Wray told us. Then we learned from Kash Patel a couple of months ago that China was sending driver's licenses into the United States in 2020 in hopes that they could be used to create fake ballot registrations. That is a second really significant intrusion. Both of those run contrary to what Chris Wray and other Homeland Security officials gave us as statements during the time. I believe that the President of the United States is soon going to be briefed by Tulsi Gabbard and other intelligence officials, based on my reporting, about additional intrusions, significant, large-scale intrusions into various forms of our election system. Now, I'm not talking about getting a machine and flipping the vote, but maybe getting enough of state voter databases that a foreign power could work with people on the ground in the United States to fill out fake registrations for people who are on dirty voter rolls. Those licenses that were sent into Chicago were going to be used to make absentee ballot applications, according to the FBI predicate. By the way, Chris Wray's FBI didn't look at that. They shut it down. If a foreign power was that far into the election databases of state systems that they could figure out what driver's licenses to send here, the next question becomes, who were they working with on the ground? Who was going to file those ballot requests? I think that's why Tulsi Gabbard was down in Georgia, why you might see her in Arizona, why the FBI will probably be in Arizona, and why the president's about to get a briefing. And all of this new information could have a profound effect on the Save America Act, which is, all right, some people say it feels like we're doing an awful lot. There's not a real problem. These next revelations, if the president were to declassify them after he gets debriefed on them in the next few days, they could educate senators and House members and give them a greater inspiration to maybe go ahead and do the voter ID and the citizenship check. That is a big moment. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are driving this. It's been below the radar, but they're doing some really big stuff. Now the president's going to find out what it is, and then at that point, the opportunity comes to declassify it. Let's see what it is. There's one other element to this. If government officials lied to us after the 2020 election, there's still an opportunity in some of those cases to pursue criminal cases against them. We'll see where it all comes out, but that's what's going on in the background of the Save America Act debate right now.
It sure sounds like he's talking about a criminal enterprise with ongoing conspiracy doctrine.
So this is so good. This is so good. This is so good. So number one, the Puerto Rico thing is kind of what blows this all open. So why was Tulsi Gabbard in Fulton County, Georgia? You and I, we said it on Q After Hours. We said it on DEFCON 0 because it's a matter of national security, because there's foreign adversaries involved. The only reason why she's getting involved. Donald Trump the next day appointed her to oversee all election security and integrity, right? Now we know that the Puerto Rico stuff is coming out. This is going to get declassified. Trump's going to get briefed on it. This is what Solomon was just talking about. But then John Solomon hinted and he said is like, who were they working with? Well, we know who they were working with. You remember Zuckerbucks? You remember Mark Zuckerberg? You remember the Tides Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the George Soros Open Society Foundations? Now, why is that important? What happened last January? We had a massive inflow, over 3,000 ICE agents into Minnesota, right? And this caused massive chaos, mass pandemonium, to the point where when do they expend ammunition? Well, guess what? They got all of their people going. They got all of their circuits in order. They started communicating on signal chats. They started getting their playbooks all going in there. They started busing people in. Well, guess what? Somebody was paying for that. And at that time, Scott Bessent at the Treasury and the IRS were all watching it. They were watching the money flow out of the state. They were watching the money flow into the state, into the people. And then what happened? That signal chat that got leaked, that was on purpose. That wasn't them getting access to that. That was military intelligence working to hack those signals, give it to those influencers, and they say they hacked it, and then put it out to the world to show that they're exposed. Because once they knew they're exposed, now you got politicians, now you got the lieutenant governor. And so this is so critically important, because who's paying for all of that? Well, guess what? Tides Foundation, Ford Foundation, George Soros Open Society Foundations, Arabella Advisors. You start seeing all of them get integrated into the violence and the chaos that's happening in the street, that is also supporting the illegal immigration, the anti-ICE effort. They're the same organizations, by the way, that helped flood the 23 million illegal immigrants over the southern border. They were working with international organizations through various different proxies. They were working with the United Nations to go out there and build warehouses on the southern border that the cartels operated in cohesion with NGOs. And what would happen, I don't know if you knew this, they would bring a group of people that made the trek up from the Darien Gap. So they're in the Darien Gap, and then they're also on the southern border right over in warehouses. And when they would bring in an illegal immigrant into the warehouse just over the U.S. border, they would stop them from crossing. What they would do is they would say, who's your contact? Who's your handler in the United States? They would contact them for them, and then they would organize their travel and their meals. They would get beans and rice every day, and the NGOs would charge the U.S. government $1,100 a week to feed these people who are getting beans and rice every day. Then they would go out there and book their flights or their bus tickets and everything like that. And these NGOs would charge $1,000, $2,000 over the actual cost. It's the same NGOs. Now, what do we have? We have the Epstein information coming out. 3 million documents. It's implicating all of these head people in massive amounts of leadership, NGOs, business, Hollywood, everywhere. We've always said that this is all integrated together. This is all directly connected. Now, do you remember this? How come I can't put that up there?
Oh, let me pull mine off right there.
Yep.
I'm bringing something to show everybody too. You guys are about to see something exclusive.
But hold on.
Please continue.
Fort Pierce, Florida. January 12th, the grand jury formed in Fort Pierce, Florida, under U.S. Attorney Jason Quinones, under Judge Eileen Cannon. Eileen Cannon is the same judge that oversaw the Mar-a-Lago raid by Donald Trump, and actually I think Trump actually appointed her. So we're about to see the fruits of that grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, which, by the way, the grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida is investigating, whether people realize it or not, FISA-gate. Why? Because it deals with Mar-a-Lago and the red binder, the red folder, which we know was the Crossfire Hurricane binder and the Hillary Clinton email binder that the Biden administration reclassified the moment Donald Trump left, because he declassified it 2 times, September 20th and December 12th, 2020. And then it went to redactions, came back January 17th. He took the binder with him, and then they reclassified it on January 21st. So in knowing this, it's also looking into the intelligence community assessment in 2017 that the Senate intel community used to basically judge the election in 2016 and say that there was no interference, and they used it as the basis that Donald Trump was actually engaged with Russia. They used the Steele dossier for the primary format of this. And this all interconnects together because why? Who was the main NGO that funded through Fusion GPS, through the DNC, through Hillary Clinton, who helped to organize the dirt on Donald Trump to the initial parts of the Steele dossier? It was George Soros's Open Society Foundations. And so this is why this movie, all three movies played at the same time. You have Guardians and the Pedophiles. That's Epstein. You have Panic in DC. That is voter and election fraud. You have FISA-gate. That is everything that happened from 2016 to present. Buckle up. Like we said, boomerang is coming, guys. And this, the reason why you weren't seeing singular arrests here and an indictment here and an indictment over here is it's all going to happen at the same time. This is how you take down an organization with RICO.
And I'm going to bring something up. This is exclusive, folks. I had to crop it out because I got to protect my source. But when Josh is talking about what went down with Minnesota and them attacking the ICE and that our military is involved, and when people say, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you don't know. We all know that the apps, the software programs that these operatives, I would argue, these color revolutionaries were using, ultimately they got infiltrated. Some would use the word hacked. I won't use that word, but you guys get the drift. And then we saw that information came out and said, you guys didn't know what you're doing, and all your information now has been sent to the FBI, your IPs, your phone numbers, and all this. Me and Josh knew about that before it happened. We knew about it from and I'm being careful how I navigate this, obviously to protect my source, but we'll say either military or military adjacent said, hey, here's some stuff to be aware of. This is what's coming in the next few hours. And this is one of the things that was sent to me. And when we tell you guys that there's this level, and obviously, like I said, I cropped out a lot of information to protect our guy. When we say the military is involved, folks, like, to what levels? Obviously, we're not read into the whole scheme of this operation. But when they're sharing some information with us, there's two reasons. A lot. Well, let me walk that back. There's lots of reasons, but there's two primary reasons. And one of those primary reasons is they want to help us with our assessments and our analysis of the stuff that me and Josh are working on. The second reason is because they want it to get into the public conversation. Mm-hmm. Because that's what moves the needle. There's no point in doing the I told you so and then parking your car. It's I told you so. So now that I've vindicated myself and I've shown you that we have a consistency of being accurate, now let me tell you why it's important, this information, and this is where we're going with it. And that's what matters. And I wanted to show that because I want people to understand that, obviously we're not bullshitting you is essentially what that comes down to. I'll give it back to you. I'm going to switch back to my other screen real quick.
Yeah, no, it's so, when on the boards, if anybody doesn't know what that is, I can explain it some other time, but it says FISA equals starts. Think layers. How do you build a house from the foundation up? This is telling me that it's all integrated together and that there's kind of, you can move from Mar-a-Lago into FISA-gate. You can move from FISA-gate into Epstein. You can move from Epstein into 2020 election fraud. All of this is directly integrated together. It's the same grouping. It's the same financial model. It's the same foreign adversaries and actors. They're all the same in all parts of this puzzle. So when you start to say is like, why haven't we seen any action or accountability on 2020 election fraud? Or why haven't we seen any deep state arrests? Well, this is the reason. Because when you're building a massive RICO case that is multifaceted in criminality, you can't just go out and start to piecemeal it. You have to do it all at the same time.
And if you're wondering, well, how do we know if we haven't shown you enough? Catherine Herridge, let me bring up this. I'm going to read this to you guys. It's not very long. Tulsi Gabbard is enemy number one to the deep state right now. So let me read this to you guys. Catherine Herridge says, exclusive, credible sources tell me that elements of the intelligence community, IC, federal law enforcement, and Congress have targeted DNI Gabbard, Directors Initiative Group, or DIG, because it revealed uncomfortable facts and findings on several matters entrenched with members of these bureaucracies don't want out there. I understand the push has been to disband, dismantle, or diminish the impact of the DIG and its work. As one example, I confirmed through multiple sources that the report and findings into direct energy attacks, or AHI's, anomalous health incidents, were finalized and prepped for release weeks ago, but there is strong IC resistance to releasing it. DNI Gabbard committed to a new review of so-called Havana syndrome after our 2025 independent investigation. Our reporting revealed that brain injuries suffered by U.S. spies, diplomats, military operatives, civilians are progressive and can lead to brain cell death and atrophy. When it was launched by the DNI Gabbard, the DIG's stated goal was to rebuild trust in the IC by investigating weaponization, rooting out deep-seated politicization, exposing unauthorized disclosures of classified intelligence, and declassifying information that serves a public interest. In response to our questions about the status and future of DIG, a DNI spokesperson said, quote, "The director remains committed to rooting out politicization and weaponization in the IC and revealing the truth to the American people," end of quote. "We are reaching out to multiple agencies for comment to advance the reporting. We will update as warranted." I mean, there's a reason they're trying to destroy this and stop it.
Well, you just saw what happened. So there was an inspector general whistleblower complaint that came out against Tulsi Gabbard about November of last year. So the inspector general came out and had zero findings on it. And by the way, the inspector general of the intelligence community right now is like a Biden appointed inspector general. This isn't a Trump appointed inspector general, as far as I know. And so they came out and said, nope, there's no wrongdoing here with Tulsi Gabbard. But what happened? Well, that whistleblower complaint just got leaked to the media the other day. So they are in full force trying to take down Tulsi Gabbard. Why? Well, Anons know. We know because she is the one that is at the heart of it, behind it all. Do you really think there's a secret skiff at the 7th floor of the FBI building in a broom closet that they're finding burn bags in with all these classified documents? Come on, the word gullible isn't even in the dictionary. I mean, that statement doesn't even make sense, people. There's no hidden skiff. You don't have hidden skiffs. Skiffs, if you don't know how skiffs operated, you'll have like an intelligence liaison or an intelligence group that is actually got to go out there, and they have to do spot checks on those skiffs. They have to check the locks on them. They have to make sure that the crypto inside the skiffs, because it's not just people going in there and talking. There's radio comms and all different types. There's all different types of things that happen in the skiff. You have to have a checklist. You have to go in there. You have to sign in, sign out. You have to make sure that the maintenance and upkeep is done on it. You don't have hidden skiffs.
Well, we also talked about just the sheer volume of information that was there, because you got to remember too, there is a physical copy in addition to these digital copies with these things that are reported. So when you're talking millions of documents, we did the math on what would be the square footage of an area to have that, and that's not some monitor closet on the 7th floor. It'd be like the entire 7th floor is the square footage you would need. But again, these RICO cases are going on. We're gonna be revisiting this conversation with DNI Gabbard with some of the stuff we're going to cover here moving forward. One of those things, just to kind of get this conversation set up as we start getting ready for some of the Epstein stuff. Before we get there, one of our brothers over there at Badlands, Jordan Sather, he does this post from the boards, and it's 1728, and he said Trump wasn't joking about the missile. And so you guys are saying, well, what are you talking about? Well, what he's talking about is right here. Insider Wire puts #breaking. Trump says he doesn't sleep on planes and likes looking out the window for missiles and enemies. Now, I just want to break this down.
Do you need the clip?
Yes, if you have the clip, that would be freaking phenomenal.
I got it.
And while you're bringing up that clip, I just hit play on it, and then we'll talk about it.
Go and sleep. We have quarters prepared for you. I said, no, I don't have to sleep. I've been on a plane sleeping for 20. I mean, I'm sleeping the plane. I don't sleep on planes. I don't like sleeping on planes, you know. I like looking out the window, watching for missiles and enemies, actually.
And so let me bring this up, Josh, and let's remind. I mean, that kind of seems like an outrageous statement from the president.
Well,
missiles and enemies?
Context. What happened 2 weeks ago when he was on his way to Davos?
It turned around because of
electrical issue, right? I'm telling you, that's what that was. That was a head nod towards going to Davos. We got a problem here. There's submarines underneath us, and they turned around. I'm telling you, it was the setup for another Whidbey Island type of incident, and they thwarted it. And that's Donald Trump not talking to us. He's talking to the deep state. He's talking to the cabal. He's talking to the globalists who are setting that up. And he goes, nope, I just look for missiles and enemies.
I mean, bro, how can anybody write that off?
But you know what? Also, dude, here's a symbolic meaning to what he says there too. So, hold on. I want to play this again.
All right, let me pull this off
because this is kind of interesting.
You can go and sleep. We have quarters prepared for you. I said, no, I don't have to sleep. I've been on a plane sleeping for 20. I mean, I'm sleeping the plane. I don't sleep on planes. I don't like sleeping on planes, you know. I like looking out the window, watching for missiles and enemies, actually. But he said,
so I don't sleep. What's the meaning of Nessun Dorma? None shall sleep. I don't know. I thought it was kind of symbolic. He's talking about, I don't sleep. I watch for missiles and enemies. And that's kind of got that whole feeling of sum of all fears.
It does. Do you want to give us just a quick back of the book version recap on this for those that have never seen this and are like, well, what are you guys talking about with missiles here?
Yeah. So number one is that image right there was taken very early in the morning on June 10th, the morning of June 11th, 2018. And what was going on at that time is Donald Trump's Air Force One had just left the G6 in Canada. They were flying to Singapore to go meet Kim Jong-un. And there was a lot of controversy over that. But Obama was like, no, don't do it. And Trump, they were going to go west over Hawaii. I think they were going to do something in Hawaii real quick and then head on over to Singapore. And then at the exact time, they would have been 100 miles off of the western coast of the United States, off of Washington State. This event happened, which if you look at it, the news and media said it was a slow frame rate camera that was capturing a helicopter lifting up. The military said it was not a missile. But missile experts, people who've launched missiles their whole naval career, say that's definitely a missile because I've launched missiles and I can tell you that's definitely a missile. And so that's a missile. And so what we figure out happened is that there was a submarine. The submarine was Comsdark or River City. Basically, they had probably been underwater for 2 weeks without any communication with the outside world. They just knew that at what I think it was like 3:10 a.m. on this day, hit launch and get out of there. They don't even know the targeting package. They don't know anything. Now, this isn't a military. This is a former military submarine that is later decommissioned, right? And so they launched a missile, not knowing if it's going to hit a target or not. But what happened is Air Force One decided to go a different way. They went the road of Spain instead. So they went the opposite way. And so the next day, Donald Trump meets with Kim Jong-un. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. So in December of 2017, Q posted on the boards. And Q said, obviously misspellings matter, but Q also spelled missiles stopped by spelling the word stopped wrong. Well, that's interesting because the day that this happened, that Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un that day, he went onto his Twitter and in talking about Kim Jong-un, he says that the missiles were stopped, and he spelled missiles stopped the exact wrong way that Q did back in December the year before, which is kind of like a validation of a Q proof. There's more to the story of how it unfolded, but you're going to have to go to DEF CON for all that.
It's probably just a coincidence. So just to recap where we're at, we covered some general news. We got into the part where Trump's going after big pharma. Okay. Trump's bringing back our culture to a place where, God's at the forefront, rededicating our nation to God. Within that conversation, I mean, then we get into Tulsi Gabbard. You know, she's bringing the RICO case election. Like all this stuff is happening. Trump makes his comment about the missile, saying, "I understand this threat that's being made against me." And again, to recap on on the way to Davos, and he turned around, and it kind of sets us up to what's been flooding the airways recently, and it's been the conversation surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. And if you guys haven't seen, Melinda Gates went and she did an interview. There's a couple different outtakes of what she said. Colin Rugg puts, Melinda Gates calls out her ex-husband Bill Gates for his alleged behavior in the recently dropped Epstein files. So I'm going to play this clip in its entirety. We're definitely going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about some, if this is the clip I'm remembering from earlier, I'll talk about some body language thing and some phrases that she said from, a detective's point of view, from someone who's done interrogations, and we'll go from there. But remember, this is Melinda Gates, folks. If I'm correct, Josh, it wasn't the Bill Gates Foundation. It was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So let's take a look or take a listen to what she's got to say about all this. How did that happen to the young girls? Well, how about because someone with your notoriety didn't say a damn word about it? I mean,
she's gonna play the victim here, but the idea is, what did she just say? I think our country is going through a reckoning right now.
And for anybody that's questioning whether, I think a lot of people, I was looking at the different chats, and most of the people are like, she's so damn fake. I concur with that. And I don't think you need to be a detective to figure that out. But something she said towards the end of that interview, which is something we pick up on when we're speaking to people, she says, and that's the truth, right? Well, if you're the person conducting the interrogation, you'd be like, well, why are you asking me? You're the one that's saying it. But that's something that somebody who's lying says, because they're looking for that affirmation. Yeah, that you're believing my lie. And that's where we're at. And part of the reason here is people are cutting deals, folks. Me and Josh have been telling you guys at length. People are cutting deals to save their own bacon. And that's the way you put these grand conspiracy cases together. That's how you establish these criminal enterprises. And that's 100% what that is the RICO case that is happening with regards to Epstein, at least a portion of Epstein. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it's a lot more conducive to, instead of taking, like, if you take down Bill Gates, you dismantle a whole network of usability that can actually build great things. And so instead, you use Bill Gates and his power source through a controlled medium, and now you own that guy. And I think that's what happened, because you remember back in September or October, Bill Gates was going to a meeting at the White House the morning of General Flynn post about Arabella Advisors. Okay. Donald Trump then posts about Arabella Advisors 2 hours later on his True Social. Bill Gates, on his way to the White House, the news broke that Bill Gates has divested all of his money from Arabella Advisors. He goes into a White House meeting, and then he comes out and he's getting some big deal with the White House. Well, deals are being made. Now, do I think that that's right or wrong, or he should be held accountable? That's not up for me to decide. If I had my own way, it'd be a different story, but that's not up for me to decide. Donald Trump knows what he's doing. That is paramount. He knows what he's doing. Now, did you know, Alpha, that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be testifying Monday in front of Representative Comer and the House Oversight Committee?
I did not know that.
That's right. Ghislaine Maxwell is coming to D.C. and she's going to be testifying. I don't know if it's going to be on Zoom or what. Hopefully they release that and make that public, because this is going to be very, very interesting to see what she has to say now, knowing what we know. And also, on top of all this,
ahead of the interviews that are coming in a few weeks.
Yeah. But then also, how many resignations have you seen over the last few days?
There's been an uptick, a definite noticeable.
The CEO of Chuck E. Cheese, boop, gone. Hollywood producers, UK politicians, they're all freaking scattering. So this is really, really interesting. And then we have some interviews that are coming up at the end of February from Hillary and Bill Clinton. Now, this is kind of odd. So
we're gonna get into that one in just a few clips. I'm setting you up for that.
Bill Mayer.
Can I what?
Do the Bill Mayer clip.
Oh, that's the one that's coming up right now. So I'm setting you up for this, brother. I got you.
All right.
I got you. So with that, you guys, you want to talk about vindication. This one, if you were on social media today, there's a high likelihood you saw this video.
What were your thoughts about the Epstein files and 3 million pages being released? And, now we are hearing that Bill and Hillary Clinton have both agreed to testify in the House ahead of the contempt of Congress vote. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, this is certainly something we were talking in my meeting today about what I'm going to talk about on the show Friday, because it's just too interesting. And also, I can't believe I'm saying this, but where does QAnon go for the apology? I mean, QAnon, which believed in lots of really ridiculous things like, Democrats eat babies. Yeah. But they were kind of harping a lot on the idea that the elites are running this pedophile ring. And I mean, I made jokes about them. I also made jokes after the Epstein thing happened originally that were on the idea of, well, obviously there was some smoke there. Well, now with all that's come out in the last couple of weeks, there's a little more than smoke. It does look like anybody who was at all able to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, he was the man.
We're doing it.
They just, yeah. I mean, and then they all lied about it. Everybody has, and the arrogance also of thinking they could just use their real name in an email, which they did, and didn't try to couch it in, when I used to get pot before it was legal, it was like, I'd like 2 shirts, please, and no seeds in the shirts this time. You had to sort of codify it. No, they're just openly talking in emails about this sort of, sexual perversion, and that they were all doing, and lots of people who you didn't think, or I never imagined were doing it. I see these names come up. So, I mean, QAnon, yes, a lot of crazy there, but you know what? You weren't totally wrong about that, guys.
Yeah, and I get it. I see the chat. There's no such thing as QAnon. I get it. There's Q and there's anons, but this is one of the words that they've attached to it. And for the purposes of conversation, I think people get what he's saying here.
Yep. He's not the only one. It's happening all over X. People are like, well, I guess Q was right. Told you.
People are.
Oh, did you hear? Did you hear today Liz Crokin on Alex Jones?
No, I've heard her on Alex Jones, but I don't think it was today. I think it was.
Let me pull this clip up, because this is actually kind of funny, because you know how Q actually attacked Alex Jones, right?
I do.
Okay, so
it had something to do with grifters.
Well, yeah, it had something to do with Jerome Corsi and what Jerome Corsi was doing. But let me pull this clip up, because I only want to play a part of it, and hopefully the audio is good for everybody. But I want people to hear what Alex Jones actually says, because Alex has been anti-Q since Q came out against Alex, right? Alex has been basically, Q is nothing but a bunch of Q-tards, all this shit,
he
right?
was trying to get Liz to co-sign on that, and she was like, no. Actually, she did a good job navigating that conversation with them.
Listen to this.
I always knew that Trump was going to go after Epstein and that whole ring before he even won. And because
it was Trump that first dropped the dime 18 years ago and put him in jail then.
Right. Like I know that.
But it's weird. Trump never takes credit for that. But I knew that when I first endorsed him 10 years ago from my sources and even the news. And then now it's all confirmed by Wolf talking to Epstein. So why doesn't Trump take credit?
Well, he has before. He has. but he just doesn't. He just tries to stay away from talking about it. But here's something that's interesting. I believe that he strategically appointed Alex Acosta to his administration the first term, knowing that he gave Epstein the sweetheart deal, because he also knew the entire mainstream media, which you know more than anyone, is compromised. So Trump knew that the only way, he knew he was going to take down Epstein, in my opinion. So the only way that he'd be able to get the mainstream media to cover Epstein was to appoint someone like Acosta. Because if they can tie it to Trump, they cover it. And so I think a lot of what he says about Epstein, he's baiting the media and he's baiting Democrats to talk about it. Trump is in the clear, you know, so I don't think he cares if he's getting accused of being in the files or this or that, because he will be vindicated.
Wait, let me stop you. Let me stop you then. And I said this yesterday. People flipped out over it. Q people said Trump is setting them up to release it and then it's going to burn them because the average Democrat's not involved. They don't know. They did it. That actually is one of the few things the Q people ever said that came true. My issue was I knew who the Q thing was. They saw how I got in trouble putting out the WikiLeaks. It was in the White House, a senior person in a mid-level. These are household names now. They're not, one of them's not mid-level now. And they said, hey, we saw you get in trouble. We got a way to put out this stuff to get them. And they don't know where it came from. And we want to have you involved. So I literally they tried. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting involved. I'm never involved with anybody else. I do my own thing. They said, that's fine. I was sworn to secrecy on it. Then they later go, oh, God, you're right. About a year later, it's been taken away from us. Now we're abandoning it. They've twisted it all. The bad guys have it. So I knew that. And I tell the Q people, they go, oh, yeah, right. Like, who are you, Alex Jones? Like, who are you? You know, no. And then now Trump's doing pro-Q stuff. Maybe they've got back control of it. But that's what it is a way to. But then you've got 4chan, 8chan now caught with Epstein putting out this info. You see my point? But I have to hand it to the Q people. They were right about this.
He just said that some mid-level person in the White House that's not in the White House now, household name, tried to recruit him for Q.
I'm thinking some initials, maybe S and B, or am I thinking? Huh. Oh, wait.
GMTF.
Oh.
GMTF.
I was about to say, why didn't I go to that one first? Yeah.
I'm just saying, because who's he kind of collaborating with now?
Yes.
Right. So do I believe him? I actually do. I actually believe what he's saying. I think that it actually makes a lot of sense, because what was the idea of the Q operation?
Well, and you have
information,
and you have the boards where it says the boards have been compromised.
Yep.
That there was a window in time when that happened. This goes into the conversation me and you were having before everybody else on why is Twitter going to be the format for communication, and we started to pinpoint when this stuff would happen, and then we just saw I'm sure it was a coincidence, but we just started to see accounts like Scavino and others that were mimicking things that we were saying real time live. Almost like trying to suggest that, hey, these guys are onto something over here. Kind of listen to see the direction that we're going in.
Everybody said, who's GMTF? Figure it out. Write it out.
3 little stars, although I would argue probably a 4th, but
yeah, or a 5th. But I found that really, really interesting. Now, there's a few other things that we need to discuss on this Epstein part. Okay. Now, did you see Epstein documents mentioned John of God? Do you know who John of God was?
I remember.
So he was made big by
Oprah Winfrey and all that. Yeah.
Yep. Bill Clinton actually traveled to South America and got healed by John of God. He actually had like psychic healing powers. This is crazy. So John of God, about a decade ago, was indicted on murder and slavery charges. He was running baby farms, black market baby farms, selling babies into child sex trafficking rings, selling babies into organ trafficking rings, whatever it might have been. He had women prostitutes that he enslaved on his land, and he was basically using them as baby farms and selling them as prostitutes, then their babies, and selling them off. So the Epstein documents mentioned John of God, one of Oprah's mentors and a fraudulent spiritual healer, who kept children as sex slaves in an underground location and sold their babies and organs for up to $40,000 in the black market before shipping some of the women to other countries to be abused. John of God is faced over 600 allegations for raping, kidnapping, trafficking, and torturing. So what we have here is John of God is actually mentioned directly in the Epstein files. And it's not only mentioned in the Epstein files, but it's accused that Zorro Ranch, owned by Epstein, was utilized exactly for this. So there's a connection. One of the women that originally came out against John of God, who made the primary accusations against John of God, she died after John of God was arrested in Barcelona of a suicide. Now, here's the thing. Her allegations were that John of God had proposed to her that she basically have babies for him and basically be a slave. But guess where it was going to be done at? Zorro Ranch by Epstein.
Really?
Really?
So I wonder what's under Zorro Ranch. And Zorro Ranch, what? New Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, right?
New Mexico,
Yeah.
yes.
Very, very interesting. Let's take a quick pause here and run an ad each to pay some bills, and then we'll get back into this conversation because we're not done with Epstein, and we got some stuff that's probably going to shake some people, gonna make some people happy, gonna make some people mad, I'm sure. But here we go. I'll go first on this one this time. Let me get my
To your Rumble wallet.
Let me see. It should be in here. Yeah, I'll do it. Here we go. Computer a little slow, folks. There we go. They can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters now more than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not government, not a tech company. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, like these guys, you can use a Rumble Wallet to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line that they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your future, yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when the institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom. Don't be victim to Bank of America like I was and be told you have 21 days to remove your funds and no other bank is going to accept your account. It was a very nerve-wracking experience back in 2021. So if you guys are watching on Rumble, you'll see somewhere around the screen, maybe down there, over there, mine and Josh's pages, you'll see a tip jar. And if you feel a little froggy and you're liking the show and you want to drop a tip in there, you can. And if you've never done it before, it'll populate the QR code. So this way you can go ahead and start opening your Rumble wallet and be able to tip directly from there. And I'll give it to you, Josh. So now you can pay a bill.
All right, let's rock and roll. This is for everybody on Rumble. You'll see the QR code pop up. Links will be above the chat and also in the description. So I want to tell you about something that's not well known, and it's incredibly powerful. It's called Ace Man An. It's a compound from aloe vera that massively supports your body's stem cell production plus cell health plus immune system function. That matters because your body replaces about 1% of its cells every day. As we age or have health issues, we produce cells less efficiently. The thing is, almost no aloe products have Ace Man An because it breaks down after harvest, and you can't get enough from eating raw aloe because aloe's laxative compound. However, Emerald Med created a stabilized Ace Man An supplement with the laxative compound removed. It's called Aloe RX. They made it for pharmacies, and now it's available to the public. I want to explain the value of Aloe RX. Stem cell injections can have amazing results, but can cost $10,000 to $40,000 a treatment. Aloe RX isn't the same thing as stem cell injections, but it massively supports your own body's stem cell production for less than $100. You could literally give your body this for 16 years for the same price as one stem cell treatment. For people who don't need something extreme like stem cell injections but want to help their body significantly, this is arguably the best value on the market. The longer you take it, the more compounding support you have. If you want to support a company that supports our channel plus free speech with ads, check out Emerald Med's Aloe RX. Get Click the link below to learn more and get 30% off AlphaWarrior today.
And so with that, folks, and we haven't left the Epstein conversation, we're just going to talk about a different segment of that conversation. So let me bring this up right here so you guys can see it. Evan Kilgore reports United States Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, it's not a crime to party with Epstein. Horrible messaging from the Trump administration. I'm in shock how tone deaf this is. This is a quick one. Let's take a listen to it.
As some of the people we saw on camera at the rallies, is there any chance that any of these individuals who partied with Epstein and engaged in relations with minors will be prosecuted?
Well,
Any
look,
chance?
I'll never say no, and we will always investigate any evidence of misconduct. But as you know, it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein, and so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things, and if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American people need to understand, that it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. It isn't a crime to have
Didn't look like that's all that was going on some of those photos. I mean, if the photos could speak, some of them look pretty bad.
That's right. And unfortunately, photos can't speak. And so we need witnesses and we need
Are there
evidence
videotapes that you all have? Or
Now, granted, yes, he is making a factual statement, but the messaging here, when you know that there is a formal operation that is trying to subvert President Trump and trying to destroy his base and create infighting, who in the world is putting out this talking point to explain it that way? Save that for the jury box. Save that for the courtroom. Right. You don't need to argue on the behest of Epstein. He will have his segment of the population that will do that. And, you know, in the news lately, we've seen a lot of stuff.
Well,
go ahead.
So, number one, the Epstein stuff. Now, Epstein's island is in the Caribbean, right? Now, I don't believe that it has jurisdictional authority in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which means that it most likely falls under another jurisdiction. As in, we have to take into account that many of these crimes were on Epstein's island, which falls outside of U.S. jurisdiction. Number two, there's statute of limitations. Number three, there's applicable evidence. So I don't agree with what Todd Blanche is saying, but also I understand the difficulty it might take to actually prove and try these cases.
100%. And that's why these RICO cases are so important. And that's why people got, and we've said this, I mean, over a year ago, you know, Al Capone, did he go down for murder?
No, tax evasion.
Tax evasion. You know, there's what people want. And this is, and I know there's people that do not like when I say this, but it's something we have to be prepared for. What's more important, vindication for the positions that we've held, or saving this country and reclaiming our sovereignty as a nation, actually make sure that our kids are safe? And shout out BPAGs, gifted one subscription on the AlphaWarrior Show. Thank you for that, BPAGs. And some of these people that get arrested, and what I'm saying is this is a potential scenario. I'm not saying it's the scenario, but it's a potential scenario that some of the people that we want to see arrested, like Hillary Clinton and Podesta and Huma, are going to be arrested, but probably not charged with certain things that we're like, but why? This is what we did. But you're going to see some of those charges are still 15 years, 20 years, life sentences. Mm-hmm. And it's somebody, you know, and this goes back to what Bongino, it's a statement Bongino made on his comeback episode on Tuesday. I actually thought it's such a simple statement, but it was actually so truthful and so powerful. And I think we forget. And he says, you know, as the, you know, Kash Patel being the director of the FBI and me being the deputy director of the FBI, he goes, by the time a decision gets to us, he goes, that's a shitty decision. He goes, because everybody down the line below us is already mitigating all the different things that are, you know, what their jobs are. So if a decision is escalating to them, it's a shitty decision. which means that what they got to decide on is, do I want to go with this shitty decision or the shittiest decision? Like, that's where we're at. He goes, I can't imagine. And he was saying this before he was bringing on to interview President Trump. He goes, imagine now the things that get to President Trump. All the layers, the attorney generals, the directors, ambassadors, everybody that has below him. So that means when a decision gets to the president, this is the shittiest of all shitty decisions that he's going to have to decide on. And we have to remember that this is where Hollywood has painted, a failed expectation when it comes to, well, we want to see it like this and we want to see it like that. It doesn't really work like that in real life. It comes back to a war scenario. You're going to have to make a decision on, do you want to lose 2 battleships here or a carrier group here, but you're going to lose one of them. Because if you don't lose one of them, you're going to lose the war. And we just have to be prepared for a situation where some of these people might get 15 years, 20 years in life, but it might not be the charge we were hoping that we would see on the record.
And some of these other people, they just lost their entire career. In 5 to 10 years, they're probably going to be bankrupt because they're never going to find a job again. They went from multi-millionaire and they're going to get sued up the yin yang for being associated with Jeffrey Epstein, for attending his parties, for writing the things that they wrote. They're going to lose their tenureship at Harvard. They're going to lose all of their research projects and grants. Nobody's ever going to hire them. And guess what? They won't be able to walk down the street. That's real retribution. That is what the real pain is going to be for these people.
100%. And you're seeing it on social media right now. I just did a post. I showed it on one of the other shows a few nights ago of, comedian out of LA that showed up in the Epstein files, hanging out with him. I think it was DEF CON, wasn't it?
It was DEF CON, yeah.
Yeah, it was on DEF CON when I showed it, and we saw the creepiness. We actually, the audience doesn't know this, but after the show, when we were debriefing, we went through his timeline. The dude just had some weird shit on there. Now you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of citizen journalists, anons, and digital soldiers right now that are all doing this with because everybody has their priority target, right? The people that they want to look for. And this is happening at massive scales right now. How do you think these people are? They're not going to be able to walk down the street. Right. This is that conversation.
But also you have lefties who are out there, like Bill Maher, right? Bill Maher is just one of many. There are streamers out there that are moderates and independents and lefties that are like, Brian Krasenstein. He's out there like, why is this name redacted? Why release this name? See, this is what they wanted to create. This was the point of Elon Musk coming out and saying Trump's in the Epstein files, getting the Democrats involved, getting the whole left on board. Which we called. Absolutely. We wrote about it and we talked about it on the shows. And now you have people like Brian Krasenstein, right? Saying, why is this name redacted? You need to release these names. Well, what did Donald Trump say the other day? He said, see, I wasn't in the Epstein files, but all those Democrats and their donors are. But wait a minute. The only person that we've seen in the Epstein files has been Chuck Schumer, and it's like nonchalant. What's Trump talking about? Well, you'll find out. Because some of those redacted names might have a congressman or a senator behind them that are part of current criminal investigations. And so when Brian Krasenstein's like, this name needs to be redacted, and when it comes redacted, it's a Democrat or a Democrat donor, oh, that's going to be a hard day for him because he's going to have to eat that, right? So this is the idea, is that it's bringing everybody like, this is horrific. This like, here's the key. The left thinks it's horrific too. I want people to understand that. The left thinks that the Epstein files are horrific just as you and I do. That's huge because that's commonality. That's common ground to where we can build upon in a country and all agree that that shit can't happen anymore. That these criminal elites, they can't do it. Like, listen to Bill Maher. He's like, holy shit, the criminal elites, the elites really were out there rampant pedophiles and doing all of these deviant shit and raping people, so forth, right? Like Bill Maher is saying that he knows it. He's a part of it. He's attended the parties, but he's now pointed it out because guess what? It's a revelation that's occurring throughout the entire world. It's Pandora's box has been opened and you're not putting it back in. But there's a twist. Go ahead.
And I don't know if this is part of that twist, but to go in line with what Josh is talking about, there's some people that are going to be testifying in about 2.5 weeks. Take a listen, folks.
Twist.
So now Bill and Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee. This is part of its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. So the former first couple agreeing to appear under threat of contempt. They've been going back and forth for a couple weeks now. Here's the chairman of that committee, James Comer.
This will be their third date that we've given the Clintons, and 3 strikes and you're out. The votes are there for contempt. I think there are Democrats that will vote to hold him in contempt if the Clintons miss this next date. So we're hopeful that they'll come in.
So now Hillary Clinton will testify on Wednesday, February 26th. The former president appears the next day on the 27th. As of now, we don't think it'll be public, but stay tuned. It could always change, I guess, right? It's the first time lawmakers have compelled a former president to testify.
So Hillary on the 26th, Bill on the 27th, and we have Ghislaine Maxwell that's coming in on Monday.
Now, I want to give you the twist. All right?
Fire off, brother.
Listen to this real quick.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. But
Donald Trump sticking up for Bill Clinton right here. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Well, this comes just hours before Hillary Clinton posted this doozy on X. Because, listen, the Clintons aren't going into this because they want to. They would fight this day in and day out if they could. She goes, for 6 months, we engaged Republicans on the Oversight Committee in good faith. We told them what we know under oath. They ignored all of it. They moved the goalpost and turned accountability into an exercise of distraction. So let's stop the games. If you want this fight, James Comer, let's have it in public. Yes, love to talk about transparency. There's nothing more transparent than a public hearing, cameras on. We will be there. Now why did Hillary say that?
There is only one reason they would want this in public, and that's because they want to come out and say President Trump did this or did that. And they've been delaying this because they're trying to figure out what the hell is Trump getting all these burn bags with all this information. We know what we left at the FBI for them to find. We know what we left in these hard drives that they were going to have to show the public. We know that we're going to create all our operatives to go on X and say, Trump, we demand the Epstein files. We demand the Epstein files because we were in perfect coordination. We planned this to perfection. We had operatives on social media that were going to demand it. We had a corrupt FBI that left all the documents we wanted, where we implicated the innocent. We defended, where we protected and hid the guilty. And where the hell is all this stuff? Why isn't this stuff the stuff that's coming out in this disclosures? And so they've been trying to delay it. And now they're to the point is where they probably think that they got information that it's going to come and everything's going to happen in coordination and it's going to blow up in their face.
So we'll get to the twist in a second why it's going to blow up in their face. But I want people to see that they delayed this for over 6 months, Bill and Hillary Clinton, to the point where they're put in contempt of Congress. Now, my thoughts are that they know that there's no evidence within the Epstein files. So they had to concoct a story. But in order, you got to remember, they're both lawyers, Bill and Hillary. Okay. Number one, their testimony. If they did this publicly in front of the cameras, you're talking about a former president of the United States of America, former first lady and secretary of state and senator. That's really important, people. I don't care what we think of Bill and Hillary Clinton. That's really important in the context of people believing they're hearing truth. So when they come out and they tell a story about Donald Trump and, hey, listen, the Donald Trump stuff in there is actually true. And we know the person who was the victim and they're willing to come forth and speak here because they had to spend all this time getting that person ready, getting it all ready. But see, there's a problem with all of this, isn't there?
There is.
over the last few days, we've learned something very, very interesting. Do you remember
have.
that 4chan post about the guy that worked at the Metropolitan Corrections Center?
Mhm.
And he claimed that he worked there and he saw Epstein being rolled out at 4 a.m. by a military fatigue guy and all this stuff. Turns out that the Southern District of New York actually opened an investigation up to that 4chan post, subpoenaed the records from 4chan, got this guy's credit card information and hunted him down, and they have his identity. And it was in the Epstein files. Sure enough, he worked for the prison. Although he wasn't working that night, doesn't mean he wasn't there. He worked for the prison, which brings massive legitimacy to what he's saying. Then there's another part to this. And this other part was where
It's going to be one of the biggest I told you so's in podcast history when it happens.
Well, number one is you have all these people out there, Benny and Kelly and all them saying, Epstein's alive. Is Epstein alive? But I want people to start thinking about this. If Bill and Hillary come out with some fake information about Donald Trump and they concoct it all, and then they're saying, yeah, Epstein knew about this, Epstein did it, and then Epstein walks in and testifies.
Shit.
That never happened.
As a matter of fact, not only did it not happen, but you were doing this stuff.
And also, Epstein had an insurance policy. He had a dead man switch. You notice we never saw Epstein's dead man switch get released. And you want to know what? If you go into the DOJ documents on the Epstein search and you type in Tor, T-O-R, you'll start seeing Epstein working with computer scientists and hackers trying to figure out how to set up his Tor server network. He had a dead man switch, I assure you. And the fact that that wasn't released is an indication that he's not dead.
Yep. And all these huge accounts. It's just like, why don't you just give Alpha and Josh a shout out, right? The 18 USC 3521.
That's it.
We've been saying. And so interesting enough, in line with that, let me bring this right here. So we have obviously what we just watched on the Clintons, but let's just bring it back real quick to Ed Martin. So over the last couple of days, there's been this tug of war, right? Ed Martin's getting fired. Ed Martin's not getting fired. Well, Ed Martin's no longer the chief of the weaponization committee, but he's at the DOJ. Well, Todd Blanche is going after him. Todd Blanche is trying to subvert the president. Well, hold on. Ed Martin's been taking pictures of the president. There, you want to talk about SIAC and PSYOP. Like, we have gone run through the ringer this week when it comes to this particular information. And so what we have here, I believe this was today. Yes, because it's not midnight yet. So we are in the 5th. Yeah. So this was this morning. But here's the thing. I saw this. I'm going to give away my sleep secrets here because I'm not sleeping. This shows 2:40 a.m. My time, right? This is Pacific time. So this would have been 5:40 a.m. Eastern. An interesting photo. Why post this at 5:40 a.m.? One, I know they're not hanging out together because you don't have that much sunlight at 5:40 a.m. So this is obviously a photo that was taken, the day prior, or several days prior. But this is not a photo that was taken in the moment. But still, Ed, who I respect, chose to take this photo and present it. Now, there's some people that have interpreted this as in, all right, see, everybody that said that he was that Todd Blanche was going to fire him and all this, it was just this was kayfabe. I actually don't agree with that position. My position is when you look at over the last couple of days, how much pushback and how many pleas to the president to address this issue, because for those that don't know, Ed Martin was specifically handpicked by President Trump.
That's right.
To be the chief of the weaponization committee. And so this firing didn't happen with the knowledge of President Trump. And when we're talking about firing, we're talking about the removal.
That's the rumor mill,
Yeah,
right? I got a theory. Why
Fire.
all of a sudden today is Ed Martin taking a picture with Todd Blanche?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So my perspective on
Okay,
this.
go ahead. I want to hear yours because I think I know what's going on.
My perspective on this is, and there's, I think I have some stuff lined up for here. If not, we'll bring it up on the next show. And remember the conversation piece that we saw with Todd Blanche regarding the Epstein. Just remember wording and stuff like that. I think this was Ed's flex on Todd Blanche on, you're not going to be able to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And this is what I'll say, and I'm going to be very careful about how I navigate this conversation. And I know everybody hates to hear the word my sources, but this is unfortunately one of those circumstances. My sources tell me that they are not happy with Todd Blanche or Susie Wiles. He is not allowing them to pursue the work that they want, especially when it comes to the budgeting and the finances of the models that they need for this stuff. And so there's this surface level conflict, or this surface level confusion, right? I don't want to use the word conflict, but confusion of what's going on. But behind the scenes, there's no confusion. It's a fight for control. There's a power grab that's in play right now when it comes to these things. One side is trying to delay, obstruct, and destroy these investigations. The other side is trying to keep these investigations alive while they expose the leaks, while they expose the people that are trying to obstruct, resist, and delay these things. And that's what's happening right now. And we're seeing it as in, oh, it's just a firing, or it's not this, or it's not that. But behind the scenes, so I have a feeling sometime in the next few weeks, you're going to see one, if not two, prominent voices removed.
Okay. I don't like Todd Blanche. I don't like Pam Bondi. I don't like Susie Wiles, and they need to go. But I actually have a different theory that's going to completely unravel even my mind on this one. What if what you're watching, the chaos, the surface level chaos that you're talking about, is actually psychological warfare aimed against the deep state? What if the deep state believes that they have an inside guy, Todd Blanche, and that the fact that he's there is stopping them from going to the next stage? And so he's making moves. Hey, don't worry. I fired that Ed Martin guy. You don't have to worry about him. He's not doing weaponization. We removed his funding on the 16th. He was done on the 31st. And then all of a sudden, Ed Martin does something like this. And it's rumor is he's going to the White House. You know where I think Ed Martin's going? I think the Pam Bondi is going to appoint him as a special counsel, just like Robert Mueller, just like Jack Smith, is you're going to have Ed Martin as a special counsel on weaponization, or on 2020 election theft, or on whatever matter that they want to put him on. I think that he's going to get appointed as a special counsel, which is going to give him massive ability to run investigations independent from the DOJ. This is huge. So my thoughts, within a week or so, you will see Ed Martin being appointed as a special counsel by Pam Bondi. And it's probably going to be the 2020 election stuff, because we already had the grand jury in Fort Pierce that's working on everything else. But what it's going to show is that Todd Blanche did his job. He tried to get rid of him, but Pam Bondi overruled him. So it shows them that, oh, you still got someone in place. He's probably feeding them this information, but who knows? He's probably working for the Trump administration. Quite literally. He's probably working for the good guys. He's probably a turncoat that they think is on their side, the deep state, but actually it's all optics. I think Susie Wiles, I think Pam Bondi, and I think Todd Blanche potentially could simply be optically playing those parts. I don't like them. I want them gone. But I think that they optically could be playing those parts.
That is definitely a plausible scenario. You guys know I don't like Thomas Massey. He could be playing a role. Like we have to be prepared for those theories. No, I definitely think that's possible. I would love to see him appointed as a special counsel.
It's going to happen.
That's
Mark
business.
my words. Mark my words. Ed Martin's going to be a special counsel.
That is business. So with that, to continue this conversation of PSYOPs and PSYOCs, this takes us into this next one. Toria Brooke, she goes, New, does the government select people like Nick Shirley to cover stories in order to amplify the message? If you guys are not familiar, Nick did a phenomenal job of uncovering and reporting, air quotes, the Somali fraud taking place that was going on in Minnesota. I want you guys to take a listen to this conversation between Toria and John Rich here, and then we will expand on this conversation, but this is going to be a good tee up right here.
You know, there is a theory of mine that I think sometimes the government will find people who are excellent at what they do, and they will give them a story. Because I know a couple months before that came out, I believe Nick Shirley was at the White House for a larger journalist meeting. It was like a press conference where they were speaking on just issues that were going on.
You think they sicked him on it like a bird dog?
I personally do. I think that, and I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but I think the way that news moves now, you see it. People respond very well to when an independent journalist is breaking a story. It kind of catches fire more, especially after Elon took over X. I still think that there's a lot of censorship going on. I know I experience it, but that seems to be the way that news is getting around now. So I wouldn't be surprised. Just
you know, I wouldn't either. You're right. If you saw it the way we saw it with Nick Shirley, as opposed to, say, I don't know, Jesse Waters went out there and found it. Yes, kind of like just another story on the news. But when a regular guy finds it,
exactly,
you know, regular American citizens respond more to just other regular Americans. Yes, this is a great point you're making. I mean, I did that with TVA when I took my iPhone out and started filming farmers on their front porch who were getting absolutely ransacked by the Tennessee Valley Authority. And that led to millions and millions of views per video that I was putting out just on X alone. And that led to beating the TVA. So it's a good point.
It's a very good point.
Well, and it's actually highly accurate.
Indeed. So one of the things that's interesting is, and like I said, I love the work that Nick's doing, but every now and then me and Joshua have a conversation. I'm just like, hey man, I heard this. And he'll be like, and did they say this? And I'm like, yeah. And so we're like, okay, so we know definitely two different sources, but we know that the information is lining up in almost a perfect azimuth. So there it's going. But why is it important? And she kind of explained its impact. Remember, psychological warfare, there's a war for perception, right? Because he who controls the narrative, you know, controls reality. And whoever controls reality has the power. Like that's the facts, folks. And so you're going to see the same way the bad guys are deploying everyday citizens into these social media, you know, town halls, whether it be X or TikTok or whatever platform. And you're just like, oh, well, these people feel this way and they're reporting that. No, these are deep state scripts and funding. Well, the good guys are doing the same damn thing. And there's a whole lot of these PSYOPs and PSYOCs that are happening. What would you like to say to that? And because we got a little bit more on that, I believe I got. Yes.
Well, I actually want to show something. So talk about a PSYOP. You know, people talk about Q as a PSYOP, right? I'm going to pull up a video. And we're going to watch it. It's 1 minute and 52 seconds, okay?
Fire off.
You're going to love this. This is going to blow your mind a little bit, okay?
Got me all excited. Smash
Okay.
thumb, hit the heart, folks.
I got to ask you about the U.S. election. As you point out, you're not an American citizen. You're an Australian. You know, you're clearly not rooting for Hillary, but are you rooting for Trump?
No. I mean, if we have good information on Trump, we publish that. If we have good information on Hillary, the Democrats, we publish that. It is a bit concerning, the allegations that by the Clinton campaign that everyone is a Russian agent are really disturbing. Why is that? Well, because bizarrely, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat, has positioned herself now to be the security candidate. She's powered up with the neocons responsible for the Iraq War, and she's grabbed on to this kind of neo-McCarthyist hysteria about Russia and is using that to demonize the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign has all sorts of things wrong with it, but as far as we can see, being Russian agents is not one of them. Some people have asked us, when will you release information on Donald Trump? And of course, we're very interested in all countries to reveal the truth about different candidates so people can understand. But it's really hard for us to release anything worse than what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth every second day. I mean, it's part of his charismatic appeal that he speaks off the cuff.
Now, Anon posted this. We all know him on X, right? Watch what happens next.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Wait for it.
The American populace is facing an unconventional warfare scenario. This is information warfare.
Now, where we go one, we go all, right?
Right.
Guess who posted the video?
No. When was this?
An hour ago.
No, bro. Not while we're doing our show again. No, bro. Not when we premiered another show.
And guess what time he posted it at? 0014.
For those we have been talking about 14, the map for those of you that aren't following. When we're premiering the show, Josh. Oh my gosh. That you had the Q on the flag, the where we go on, we go. You had so much stuff that's in there.
Yep.
It's the floodgates. The floodgates are like the chains are rattling right now, bro.
It is setting the tone and the narrative for everything that's going to come. And this is what this man does. He's an absolute genius at game theory and strategy.
Speaking of game theory and strategy, that's going to tie into this next one. This next one's a long clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's 4 minutes. If anybody wants it, I'll drop the link down in the comments on the show and Rumble so you can grab it. But I'll play about 45 seconds of it. But Savannah, this one comes. Well, let me bring it up so you guys can see what the heck I'm talking about on the screen. Steve Lookner posts from Savannah Guthrie's Instagram page. And like I said, I'm going to play like about 45 seconds of it. And then we'll continue this conversation on SOPs and Trump's strategy, especially given what he just posted right now. This is interesting.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day, despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief. We are always going to be merely human. Just normal human people who need our mom. Mama. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you. Our mom is our heart.
So, for those of you that don't recognize Savannah, she did. I should have went and grabbed this clip for you guys. She's the one that interviewed Trump during his first administration and asked him about QAnon. You remember that?
I do.
And I'm telling you, I screwed the pooch on that one, folks, and I apologize. But if you guys remember, they're sitting, 15, 20 feet away from each other. Everybody was watching. And she starts to question Trump about QAnon. She's using the words QAnon. And Trump kind of dismisses that. Never heard, don't know a whole lot about them. Is, aren't they against like, pedophiles and traffickers? Like I heard they're really good people. He plays that card on there, right? And she kind of pushes, you don't know about QAnon. And it just, this is her. Now, this video is awkward as hell, bro.
It sounded very awkward.
It is. And if I would have let it go on for the next 3 minutes that were still left of it, it just gets worse and worse in awkwardness. It almost feels like they were forced to read this. Like somebody sat them down and said, here's your script and you're going to read it. And some of the question, like, the other daughter, the one that's wearing the white shirt, she makes the comment, we miss you and we want you to come home.
As in, she's not kidnapped. She's just like out for a stroll.
Like you just got to make some decisions.
Like grandma knew something and went to the feds and turned herself in and said, hey, my daughter's in some very dark shit. And they're making up this whole story to try to force, I don't know, something like that. Who knows?
Which goes into President Trump called Savannah and had a conversation with her and said, we are going to find your mom. As a matter of fact, I'm sending the director of the FBI out there to personally be involved with this.
And they arrested the guy, Carabella, today, but they haven't found her mom.
So,
well, they arrested the guy. So I don't know kind of how this is going. So they arrested the guy that sent the ransom note for the Bitcoin, but from what I'm gathering, he was just an opportunist who saw something trying to make the money. He didn't really have their mom. So that's kind of what I'm getting out of it. But it's interesting because Samantha Guthrie's husband, he founded a think tank known as Glover Park. Glover Park sold Obama his DC home and was involved in the 2020 election. They were a contractor for the 2020 election year for Protect Democracy. Not only that, is they're directly associated in the Epstein files.
So there was an update, I believe it was either yesterday or today, that they found some blood on I think it was the patio or the porch. They're waiting to get confirmation on it being her. And I have seen some people say that it did get confirmed as her. So
coyotes, man. It's a coyotes out there.
So we'll see. But here's the thing. This whole thing reeks as a psyop and a psyop. Doesn't mean that somebody didn't get hurt. Doesn't mean that there's not stuff there. It's just when you have President Trump making a phone call to her specifically. And
it sounds like they killed their mother and they're trying to collect the insurance money, but they didn't know how to do it. So they're trying to make it look legit. I don't know.
I don't know, but this one, oh yeah, it was blood on the front porch. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got that accurate. There's something interesting going on here with Trump making
the neighbor's ring cam's going to catch that shit and see Virginia out there grabbing her or whatever in Savannah grabbing her mother or something. They did it. They did it. I'm telling you right now, they did it.
I'm curious is
they did it. I'm telling you, they did it. That group of people that were just like, Mom, come home. They did it.
I'm on the side of the fence where I think mom left.
Mom's like, fuck this shit.
Mom's like, I see where this is going, and I ain't playing that. And
Sitting down in Tijuana.
and no, I think she's dropping dime. I think she's doing what a mom or dad does when they know their kids are in a lot of trouble, and they try to go negotiate for them.
Mm.
Hey, look, I'll give you the information that you need. I don't want my daughter to get the death penalty. I don't want my daughter to get life sentence, or I don't want my daughter to end up in the bottom of a lake, or with a tie and a door handle. I think that it's probably going to be something like that. I mean, who knows if we know, but who knows on this? We need some more information. This one's weird.
Yeah.
This one's weird.
My indication is that they did it. She's probably 90. What is she, 90, 80 years old? Probably a massive insurance profile, right? Like, they just been waiting for her. They're probably bankrupt, don't have much money left over. Time to go, Ma. Time to go.
Well, I mean, I would imagine Savannah's probably rich, though.
Well,
I mean, who knows?
Rich people lose money all the time.
Very true.
The more you make, the more you spend, man.
Very true. Well, then, to get us ready for a conspiracy conversation, let's fly through these last ones real quick. This is kind of important, and I want to get your take on this because stuff happening around the world. You have Fox News reports breaking: U.S. fighter jet shoots down unmanned Iranian drone that was approaching the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, U.S. Central Command says. And then along with that, you have RT report Saif al-Islam Gaddafi assassinated al-Arabiya, son of Libya's former leader, Muammar, gunned down in his garden by 4 people who fled the scene. Whole lot of stuff happening around the world with this, man. What's your take on this? Where do you?
So the Gaddafi thing, number one, is Libya is incredibly rich in resources, minerals, and oil. So that could be anything from Israel, Mossad, China. That could be Saudi Arabia. Who knows with that one? That even could be the U.S. I don't know. I think it's very interesting in the context of timing, specifically when Donald Trump is moving into Africa on a lot of different things. They have U.S. troops heading to Nigeria to fight ISIS. So I don't know if there's some interrelationship there, if there's some funding that was going through Libya again. Remember, because that's what Benghazi was about. But then the Iranian drone. Here's the problem with the Iranian drone thing. So you have a drone that approaches a U.S. warship and it gets shot down. Nothing from the U.S. military, nothing from the Iranian military. The talks are still on for tomorrow, even though U.S. weapons or military posture has increased in the Middle East over the last 24 hours. My thoughts? It was probably an Iranian-built drone flown by Israel towards the U.S. ships, trying to run it into it to get a war.
USS Liberty 2.0.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. We're on
and I think that actually the U.S. delegation or the U.S. and Iran probably both identified it as such. And we're like, don't worry. It's all good. But the increase in U.S. mobility in that area over the last 24 hours is probably because of that. And it's not necessarily a threat to Iran or the United States, but watching for other false flags.
I agree with you. We're definitely on the same page with that one. So let's get into the last part of the show here. You had a conspiracy theory lined up for us. And when you briefly mentioned this to me, I was like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? No way. Like, this is the stuff from Hollywood, but you're like, no, there's evidence. I can prove this. The floor is yours.
Well, so number one, the global elites are absolutely obsessed with life extension, with immortality. Actually, I'll bring up an email right here from Jeffrey Epstein, within Jeffrey Epstein's email files, right? And this actually has relevance because we've all heard of the Hillary Clinton emails within WikiLeaks that discuss Gilgamesh, right? The tomb of Gilgamesh. A lot of people believe one of the reasons we went into Iraq in the 1990s is because they had actually discovered the tomb of Gilgamesh and that we were going to recover all the artifacts. So this is to Jeffrey Epstein from Brad Swanitz. And he says, as a teenager in Germany, Steve Horvath, his identical twin Marcus, and their friend Jorha Zimmerman formed the Gilgamesh Project, which involved regular meetings where the three discussed mathematics, physics, and philosophy. The inspiration for the name, Horvath says, was the ancient Sumerian epic in which the king of Uruk searches for a plant that can restore youth. Fittingly, talk at the meetings often turns into ideas of how science may extend lifespan. Now, I went into great detail in a few of my posts on this specifically. I wrote one, it's published on my X account. It's also published on my Substack. It's absolutely free to read on either one of those platforms. You can go check it out. Jeffrey Epstein, the architect of the global genetic control grid and superhumans. Now, that might sound like, oh my God, that's a conspiracy theory. Guys, this is legit and real, and this is based on real information, real research, known facts about Jeffrey Epstein, okay? And it goes into the money channels of what Epstein was doing, his Southern Trust Company, DNA mining, quantum AI, 23andMe, and how 23andMe was being utilized as a honeypot for genetic information. You have the Rothschilds banking cartel directly involved in the Southern Trust Company. You have Jeffrey Epstein actually writing an essay on red hair genetics and how they can actually use them. By the way, the red hair genetics date back to the giants of the old age. You're talking about the Book of Enoch. Other things, Dr. Brian Bishop talking about lab modification testings, going in there, trying to extend the life of mice. And then one of the other parts was DARPA. Jeffrey Epstein met with a woman by the name of Regina Dugan. You don't know who Regina Dugan is. She's the former head of DARPA, the former head of Google Special Projects, and now the head of the Welcome Leap Foundation, which is nothing more than an international DARPA. And Jeffrey Epstein was directly involved with all of them. This is great. It goes into all of this. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because we know that they have an obsession with extending life. Now, for the last few years, actually more than the last few years, probably for the last 10 years, I've been following on social media as well as everybody else. If you're kind of in the know on these things, a guy by the name of Dr. David Sinclair. Now, Dr. David Sinclair is a very, very interesting person because he has been working for the last 20 years on life extension technology, on how to extend life in human beings. Now, a few months ago, I was watching the Moonshot, I think it was the Moonshot podcast, or it was a Diary of an AI CEO. It was one of those. Now, in this show, there was discussions about David Sinclair and his research. Now, a few years back, David Sinclair, they began researching on how to extend the life of mice. And they did this whole process, which I'll get into in a second. And they were able to take a mouse or a rat, and they waited till that mouse was elderly. And I mean elderly, near death. And they gave it a therapeutic treatment, stem cells, these types of things. And they were able to reverse aging in that mouse. Now, that might sound like, oh, really? That's kind of cool. No. I don't think you understand what I mean. They were able to take that elderly mouse and bring it back to 20 years of age. Then they let that mouse age again till it was elderly, and then did it again. Then they did it a third time. David Sinclair was asked, why did you stop after 3 times? He goes, there's no need to go any further. We could have done it as many times as we wanted. And then they started to ask. They said, well, what if someone doesn't want to be 20? What if they want to be 30? They said, well, over the last year, we've actually refined this process. And with this methodology, we can actually go in there and we can dial these mice back to any age we want to put them at. And so this was a few months ago that he was on this podcast. And when he was on this podcast, he said the next step is human test trials.
Right in time for AI.
Right. And so the next stop is human test trials. And he said, we're hoping to have FDA approval by next year. Here's some breaking news that just came out yesterday. The FDA has approved the first age reversal gene therapy trial, with researchers claiming aging can be reversed, and a startup preparing to test the idea in humans. This is it. Now, how do they do it? This is where the moral aspect comes into play, guys. So what they do is they take your genetic information and they put your genetic information into a zygote. They produce a synthetic clone of you, biological clone of you that they age to about 2 weeks. They keep it into a cryogenic state at 2 weeks of age. And it begins to form embryonic stem cells. Now, gotta remember, this is an embryonic clone of you. And it begins producing embryonic stem cells. They take those embryonic stem cells, and this is how they actually produce the gene therapy. In order to push you back in age, they need to have that thing completed like that. They have to have that thing in. Your clone always has to be alive. So you remember the movie The Island? Did you ever watch the movie The Island?
I remember it vaguely.
So
but that was right around the time of like Gattaca and all that.
Yeah, so The Island was about like they live in kind of like an underground bunker and stuff, and they said that the world outside is uninhabitable in most parts, so the population is really, really small, and that every month there'd be a lottery, and that if you got selected for the lottery, you get to go live with the population on the surface of the planet. But what's really happening is they were all clones. And when you win the lottery, is your actual real person needed a kidney or a leg, and they would go out there and kill you and take your organs. This is the idea of what they're doing. But it's really, I mean, you're looking at it as, you know, a zygote about this big, 2 weeks old. It doesn't have a heart or anything like that. So I get it, but I think there's still moral constraints there. But this is the idea that I want to talk about with this. If human beings start living a lot longer, now we start to get into the idea of why were the eugenicists and globalists trying to depopulate the world in the first place? Because they knew this point in time was actually coming, that it was going to be relatively easy and cheap to reverse aging, to allow us to live not 70 years, but 200 years. 400 years, 500 years. And I want people to know this. And I'm going to give you this reference. And this comes from the leaders in longevity right now, like Dr. David Sinclair. He said this 5 years ago. He said, if you're alive in the next 10 years, you will most likely be alive for the next 50 years. Then he said, if you're alive in the next 50 years, you'll definitely be alive for the next 100 years. And he says, if you're alive in the next 100 years, you'll probably live another 500 years. And this is the idea. He wasn't talking to 30 and 40-year-old people. He was talking to 60, 70, 80, and 90-year-old people. They've cracked aging. Now, this does a lot of different things. On a different podcast I was watching, the host is actually a billionaire, and he's really well connected. And he was talking about how he was in conversations with many of the AI CEOs at a few of these meetings, and that they are scared shitless, that they've opened up Pandora's box and they don't know how to contain it. And they said they all came together and tried to figure out the best solution on how to contain AI. Because I don't know if you realize this or not, Alpha, once we start obtaining AGI, artificial general intelligence, and don't look at artificial general intelligence as one singular point, look at it as a spectrum. Right now, we are in that spectrum of artificial general intelligence. But eventually, artificial general intelligence is going to go exponential. It's going to go hyperbolic. And that will be known as artificial superintelligence. But here's the problem with artificial superintelligence. What happens when AI becomes so smart that we can no longer understand it? That we can no longer understand what it's giving us in the context of information. Now we are nothing more than feeble ants to an automated computer system. That's a problem. So a lot of these AI CEOs and a lot of these other technocrats, they figured out the solution. Did you notice that during Donald Trump's announcements early in the beginning of his administration, he talked about building out Abilene, Texas, and the $23 trillion of infrastructure coming in. And he talked a lot about biomedicine, biotechnology, right? Massive amounts of money are being pumped into biotechnology. Not only that, is you had the Genesis mission, which is being done through the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, and collaboration. Genesis mission is basically bringing in 30,000 scientists to work with AI for scientific innovation. Well, one of the primary funding rounds about that is biotechnology. Guess what they're trying to do? The solution that they came up with is the only way that we're going to ensure that AI does not become so smart that we no longer understand it is to integrate ourselves directly into the AI, to advance ourselves along as with the AI begins to advance, to make ourselves technologically and biologically as smart as the artificial intelligence through genetic manipulation and technological integration.
Ooh.
And that's where they're headed right now. That's what the whole base platform is making for. So here's one thing that I want to put out there. There's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to do it. But see, if you look at the history of evolution throughout the planet, you go to any Darwinian evolutionist, biological evolutionist, or evolutionary biologist, whatever, right? They're going to tell you that evolution is this gradual line that kind of just goes like this, but it doesn't. That's not how it works. I remember in my first year in college, I was sitting in an evolutionary biology class, and they were telling us about this, and then they would show us these graphs, and I said, that's not kind of nice and smooth. I said, that's sporadic, and the sporadicity actually occurs within like 100-year increments, and that evolution, gene mutation, actually occurs in very, very large spurts over small amounts of time. As in, evolution isn't something that's gradual. It's something that happens in a very, very specific time frame, not specific, but over a very short time frame, very, very fast. And it typically would happen when the environment of the species was disrupted to a point where survival was in the context. Okay, so understand that it's more adaptability than kind of evolution, that every species evolves based upon the systematic change of the environment around it, epigenetic control factors. So this is my theory and my prediction, and I believe that this is going to happen, and I'm not the only one saying this.
Can I fire off just a quick thought here that you made go into my head?
Yeah,
because I'm thinking, how do you get people to subscribe to this? You introduce them to people that have been living amongst them already, that probably have this.
Damn right. And not only that, now you're talking about clones and everything else. But here is the kicker. There's going to be a lot of people who don't do this. Okay? Now, they're going to have babies. Those babies are going to be growing up in an environment to where people are integrated with artificial intelligence. So you're going to have a person go like, oh, I need my pen. That pen's going to fly across the room, because they have AI technological integration that has some type of technology that can grab that pen and bring it over to them. It's not because their mind's doing it. It's simply because that's the technology they have integrated in the system. They're going to be moving computers with their hands up and down. They're going to be doing it with their mind, playing video games like Neuralink is already doing. And infants that have no integration of technology or AI inside of them are going to watch this. And their minds are going to begin to slowly adapt over generation after generation until they can control the computer with their mind with no technological integration or biological modification.
It's just evolved.
Then they're going to see that, oh, these people are communicating with an artificial intelligence. Well, that must be the natural state of things. And so therefore, boom, they're going to be connected to that, but it'll be biological. That we will spark a biological evolution simply because of our technological advancement. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen like this. I've seen it. I'm not speaking of chips in my body. I'm talking about like babies will begin mimicking people using Neuralink. And after generations of that occurring, biology will take over and begin integrating what it observes in reality as a survivability mechanism into the biology itself.
Yes. I told you guys. I told you guys when he hit me with this for the show. I was like, "That's what I'm talking about. That is what talk about." The
So
first
immortality and special, manipulation of matter, energy, and all these things with your mind. It's coming.
I don't doubt you. This is your lane, bro. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna read the Rumble rants, any super chats or anything like that came in. Before we do that, do us a solid. If you've been enjoying the show, this is the premiere. It's episode 000. Share this out. Help get this show on whatever platform you're watching, and share. And just share. If you're my audience and you've been watching it on my Rumble channel, make sure you head on over to Josh's at Red Pills and give him a like to help him out with that as well. And if you're over there watching on Josh's, I definitely invite you to come and smash that like tonight when you're done with the show as well. So with that, I'm going to read my last ad, Josh, so you have time to set yours up, and then we'll get into the Rumble rants. So this one comes from Emerald Med. There's always a funny story with this, but I'll say it for another time. I want to tell you about something that's not well known, but is incredibly powerful. It's called Ace Man Ad. It's a compound from aloe vera that massively supports your body's stem cell production, cell health, immune system function. That matters because your body replaces about 1% of its cells every day. As we age or have health issues, we produce cells less efficiently. The thing is, almost no aloe products have Ace Man N because it breaks down after harvest, and you can't get enough from eating raw aloe because the aloe's laxative compound. However, Emerald Med created a stabilized Ace Man Ad supplement with the laxative compound removed. It's called Aloe RX. They made it for pharmacies, and now it's available for the public. I want to explain the value of Aloe RX. Stem cell injections can have amazing results, but can cost $10,000 to $40,000 a treatment. Aloe RX isn't the same thing as stem cell injections, but it massively supports your body's stem cells production for less than $100. You literally give your body this for 16 years for the same price as one stem cell treatment. For people who don't need something extreme like stem cell injection, but want to help their body significantly, this is arguably the best value on the market. The longer you take it, the more compounding support you have. If you want to support a company that supports our channel, free speech with ads, check out Emerald Med's Aloe RX. Click the link below and learn more and get 30% off Aloe RX today. You'll see that down in the description, or if you're in the live chat, it's in the live chat right now. And I'll give it to you, Josh, to do yours. And I'll start getting these Rumble rants set up.
All right. All right, still haven't tried 1775 coffee. Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped in only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions in a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is the one. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does.
I love that coffee. So I'm going to get my Rumble rants on the screen, and then Josh, I'll let you do yours. And then we have an awesome outro video for you guys. Something that I think we might end up doing consistently if we like the idea. But let's thank the people that supported this show. $17 coming in from Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter in honor of your first show. And it looked like this one came in on a triple whammy there. So Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter, hopefully they didn't charge you 3 times, or maybe you're sending it 3 times. $10 coming in from the new Brew $10 challenge. Hopefully people accepted that challenge. $20 coming in from Rabid Badger 456. Excited to spend another evening with this crew. Excited to have you here with us. Thank you. Illinois Danny, I'm guessing. New show. Who dis? Let's go. Like that. New show. Who dis? $10 coming in from St. Masshole. Challenge accepted. There you guys go. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. It's making me nervous already. Share this show like Bill Gates shares viruses into Melinda Gates inbox. Don't judge me for Keith, folks. $2 coming in from Keith O'Higgins. Did you guys see how junk food producers are lowering prices now because the SNAP subsidies have been removed? I didn't see that. I did know that there were people that kind of anticipated some of these things, Keith. So,
they're not lowering prices. I thought they're going up.
No, on some of the nasty junk food stuff, the junk food stuff.
Oh,
yeah, not the good stuff, but like the junky food. $5 coming in from, go look at a bag of Doritos, because I remember a bag of Doritos was expensive. I know I love Doritos, folks. So don't judge me. But a bag of Doritos here in Cali, like the family size pack one, I think it was like $7 or something like that. And I think that thing's down to like $3 or $4 now. We'll see. Who knows? Is it because they're making it healthier? Not enough poisons? To be watched, Keith. $5 coming in from Tal22. Congrats on a winning show. Great intro. I'm really, if you guys came late and you missed the intro to Josh and mine's new show, you got to go back and watch it. We promise you will not be disappointed. And shout out to Nate who put that together for us. Dollar for dollar, Keith O'Higgins. The 80s were about carrying a Bic lighter for concerts and lighting farts. Good music and gaslighting. Definitely the concert part. I don't know about the other one. $17, Ravelin. Congratulations on your premiere episode, Alpha and Josh. Thank you for that, Ravelin. $2 from Space Wally. Thank you, fellas. Good combo. I agree. I appreciate my brother here. Alan S. 333. Right. Overwatch. Josh. Levithian's tentacles and head must be destroyed all at once, or else our enemy comes back. Agree. $10 from my smoking fan. Happy Friday, friends. I'll have to finish the show in the morning past my bedtime. Where we go one, we go all. I hope you get good rest. And when you see this on the replay, I just know I appreciate you. $5 from Kim to Ted. We're going to strike with United Healthcare. Premium went from free to employee to $2,100 for a family of 3. I feel your pain on that one. I remember having those family premiums go outrageous. $2 coming in from BS Girl 1950. Any thoughts on Samantha Guthrie's husband, Michael Feldman, who worked 8 years for the Clintons, trying to keep him quiet before their testimony?
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Josh covered that one. $1 for Keith O'Higgins. Democrats walking down the streets. I just want Democrats to not protest down and in the streets. I don't want to waste the ammo or mess up my car's paint job. That's just humor for the Fed that's watching. $10 from B Pags. Great conversation, guys. Thank you. $1 from Keith O'Higgins. I heard Cash Patel is good at finding scarecrows.
Sacred cows.
Oh, sacred. I'm tired. I'm scarecrows. Thank you for saving me on that one, brother. I blame Keith. $17 from ClareCat367. Loving this awesome new show, Alpha and Josh. Congratulations. You're warriors and patriots. Thank you and many blessings. $20 and the last one. So get ready, Josh. B-Pags. Great show. Congrats. Thank you. And then I think I had 2 super chats over there on Rumble. 3Tim3. I don't know how to say the rest of that one. You know what? I can show these. These ones I can populate. So little Bruce Lee action there. Great show. Great work. $5. And then another one coming in from Chrissy Patterson, 2978. Say my name, Daddy's LMAO. Keep up the freaking awesome job, guys. We love you. Thank you, guys, and thank you for supporting us
guys
here.
So I don't got the cool thing that Alpha has. He needs to send me it so I can download it because I don't have the Rumble thing. So I have to go. I can't really read them out, but I can acknowledge everybody. First one I'll actually acknowledge on YouTube over on the Red Pills TV on YouTube, which is blowing up these days. Alpha Warriors channel and my channels are blowing up over there. From Patrick Wong 613, $20 super chat over there with just a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate that one. And everybody else over there watching on YouTube. We're going to go on over to the Rumble rant. I have congratulations, Josh and Alpha, on the new show. $10 Rumble rant from a non-L Genie. Thank you so much, non-L Genie. I appreciate that. AKA Cheryl Ann, congratulations. And this is from Carlito. $1 Rumble rant. Thank you so much. Sorry, and I can't read the whole thing. I can only see it cut off. Awesome show so far. Loving you guys. Junkie Joe Medina, $5 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate that. Andy Pearson, Q Boards, Epstein, Obro, election. I actually saw this, and then she was like drinking to all of it, and then she got drunk. $20 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate that. God is with us. I love the new show, Alpha and Josh. $2 Rumble rant with God with us. God is with us. Thank you so much. JJ the Elk, bingo. Cheers to the new show, $20 Rumble rant. Appreciate that. FTW 1976, cat and mouse. Q didn't mention, and then it cuts off for me. I can't see the rest, but $10 Rumble rant. Appreciate you, FTW 1976. Again, he goes, think movie, 7 quote. And I actually might have those up on Rumble. They're fairly new. Well, let me see what we got here. So I only got 2 that are sitting here right now. Ricky 63. It's a great to have you 3 times a week now. $10 Rumble rant. Thank you so much, Ricky. Mary J1, $5 Rumble rant. Watch this. Replying for Guthrie. The person found something interesting in Savannah's read, skipped about 30 seconds. I'll copy that link and I'll check it out. It's on TikTok. I'll have to check it out here later. And then I have Miss Lola, spot on Josh, replying with Gilgamesh, $10 Rumble rant. And appreciate you guys. Thank you. That's all we had come in there. And by the way, you guys want to support myself, you can go to redpills.tv, and when you go over to that website, there's a support tab. You just click that support tab. There's all different types of ways to support us. There's a sponsors page. Alpha will have his website out, new one coming out very, very soon. That'll be very similar to mine because I built it. And then but you can go. You can also go to AlphaWarriors.tv and check that out and support Alpha over there. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. Most importantly, best way to support us, if you want to support us monetarily, if you want to support us with likes and shares and all that stuff, is just subscribe to the channels, and that's becoming a premium subscriber, whether it's on X or Locals or Substack or our private networks or just on Rumble. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
And I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Now it's your turn, folks. Share it out, share it out, share it out. This long exit video, but we think you guys will enjoy it, and we'll probably end up doing this on every show, a different one. So guys, catch you guys on the next one. Next week we will be starting at 11 p.m. Eastern. It just I had a little hiccup on some things, and that's why we delayed it 30 minutes. So next week, just know we will be starting on the dot at 11 p.m. Eastern. So with that, you guys, good night, God bless, and Semper Fi.
When the lies go global, legends go live. There's a war and a signal, a ghost in the feed. They rewrite what you saw, then they tell you believe. They sell you a savior, they stage you a fight, keep you divided while they move at night. But your man broke the screen like glass in the storm, saw the core behind the chaos, saw the shape of the swarm. When the deep turns darker and the truth feels gone, they don't run from the fire, the jagged in the dawn. You can't fake this kind of vision, you can't pretend this kind of hate, for the cage is built in silence, for the life they love to take. So let it rise, let it roll, let the whole damn system shake. know their name right. Overwatch, Navy sharp, mind like a blade, intel unmatched. She's a trap in the shade, files a thread, pulls the whole web down. Turns whispers into blues, turns panic in the ground. The Guardian Marie Forge, you got 4 hands. Tactical operator ran the hardest backlane from rifles to microphone, same old, same fight. Now the mission's on the air and the target's in sight. Let them copy your words, let them cosplay your pain. Hook Protector was the title, but they can't stand the rain. Cause legends don't burn, legends don't break. They turn passion in a flame. Overwatch, the Guardian, say loud, let the whole world hear. Digital soldiers, last protectors where the cowards hide. They appear the storm, the truth. They hit like thunder, never disappear. Some call them watchers, some call them heroes, but the world gon' know their name right here. She phone screens, and in the shadows where the real war breathe. They don't chase clout, but chase the network. They don't play nice, they pick the strict. Star from the flag, glory in the fight. Stripes in the blood, humble in the price. Matrix